Talk shoes. Recorded live.
Hi, everybody. It's Thursday night. It's time for our call. Tonight, our special guest speaker is Constitution Man, backed by popular demand. Hi, Constitution Man.
Hello there. How are you this fine day?
Fine, thank you. I'm so glad you're able to make it on. We haven't heard from you in a long time. What's been going on?
I've been in and out of hospitals and having a good time with the medical profession.
Okay, you're going to need to speak up real loud.
All right, I got the microphone almost in my mouth here. Here we go.
Okay.
How's that right there?
Good.
Better? Better?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Okay. I don't know how long I'm going to be able to last tonight, so let me get the very most important.
Where'd you go? We lost you. Constitution Man. Where'd he go? Oh, good grief. One way to start. Where'd you go? Uh-oh. Well, let's see if he comes back. Constitution Man, we lost you completely. If you can hear me, you need to call back in. Looks like we dropped a lot of people. Yep, we dropped him, or he dropped us. I don't know. Good grief. I hope he's not talking and doesn't realize that he's off. Let me see if I can. Let me call him on TalkShoe. Let me see if I can do this. Okay, everybody. See if I can do this. I think I can. Think positive. Good grief. Maybe he ate the microphone. I don't know. It's possible. I can't find him on here. It's not on my, maybe I don't have him here as Constitution Man. Duh. There he is. Okay, let's see if we can do this. It's ringing him.
You have reached the voicemail box of
We're back. Are you there? Oh, hello, hello.
Okay, I'm back. I'm back. I got bumped myself. Isn't that amazing? Okay, let's see. Did he get back on? No. Mm-hmm. Oh, there. Let's see. Is that you? Is that you? Oh, gosh, you sound a million miles away now. Are you on some weird microphone or something? Can't hear you. Mm. We can't hear you at all. Oh, there's another one from Southeast Michigan here. Is that you also?
That's me.
Okay, there's another
That's
Southeast.
me. See?
Okay.
Yeah, I know. All right, now watch this. That one will go off. Did that one go off?
Oh, yeah, I muted it.
All right, good. All right.
So go ahead.
They're playing games, so we got to go fast here. Okay, a little fast anyway. I want to thank everybody that had a part in doing the Twitter program, especially with those TNT DNR people. We are #1 in the world on Twitter. We have probably 20 million people helping us now. Call in and send one message. Basically, we are the people, okay, and we want you to do the right thing and fix this mess, okay? Now that's the message, and it goes out every hour on the hour, and 10 to 20 million people are doing it, and it goes to the White House, it goes to the Congress, it goes to the Senate, it goes to the Treasury, it goes all over, okay?
Okay, and for those that don't know what you're talking,
they'll know by tomorrow because it's going to be in all the papers.
Okay, but for those that don't know what you're talking about right now,
there's a big scandal. There's a big scandal going on right now, and a bunch of congressmen got caught with their hand in the till, okay? And 87 of them have resigned, okay? Now, the bottom line is, and they got caught putting money in Swiss banks, and the Swiss bank ordered them to get their filthy money out of their bank and out of their country, okay? Now, a bunch of stuff is happening. They got caught red-handed, okay? And the bottom line is, this is coming to a head, and I want your people to know they had a valuable part in this because I tried to get the message out on your program last week, and I got it out on another gentleman's program, Dave, from Texas, and we got the thing working, and it worked so good.
I'm glad you got on this call.
It worked so good, we were 3rd of the world at the Super Bowl, okay? We're now #1 in the world, okay? Now, the next steps, they're going tomorrow, and they're going to go on the web page on Facebook, okay? And they're going to take those same people and tell them to call 10 of their friends and get 10 of their friends again now to call around the world on Facebook. It should pretty well put this scandal all over the world, in every newspaper, on all media. Now, the most important thing about this is they basically stood up and says, we are the people. We're the ones in charge. We are the people. And we want you to do the right thing, and we're not playing. Now, evidently, some of these people seem to think, this is what I was saying, what we have here is a failure to communicate. Now, that was told by General Latham to the Ranger Base, the 2nd Ranger Company at Fort Benning, Georgia, after the cops tried to beat up their guys and ended up with a bunch of them in the hospital, okay? And so the Rangers went out on the main road outside of Fort Benning and tied artillery simulators to the cops' fenders, okay? When they took off after these hot dog kids with their fancy red cars that they bought from their re-up money, then the cops would pull out after them and then drag them out of their cars and beat them up and all this stuff. Well, all of a sudden they heard this loud whistle, and all of a sudden they heard this like a mortar coming in, and all of a sudden there was a huge bright flash on the rear fender. And after about the 3rd or 4th explosion and flash, those were called artillery simulators to give you the idea artillery is coming in on you, the cops wiped their car out on the front big tree at Fort Benning. And of course, the next day in the front page of the Columbus Times, it had shootout at the OK Corral, and this cop was shooting a great big Georgia pine rattlesnake on the front seat of his patrol car. They dumped 8 bags full of rattlesnakes in the police motor pool. So the cops were not real happy, you see. And so General Latham, in order to restore peace, came out and said, now what we have here is a failure to communicate. Now, them boys are pretty mean. They didn't crack one smile. I'm afraid you boys play kind of rough, and somebody going to get killed. So what we're going to do is every year we're going to have us a picnic here at Victory Pond and let the people come out from the town, have a nice picnic on the Army, and we're going to show them not to mess with you crazy fool. And every year to this date, they have a picnic at Victory Pond at Fort Benning, Georgia, and they bring the townsfolk out and they watch them, watch the Rangers train, so they know enough not to try and beat them up when they go into town. You know what I'm saying? And then we got ordered, you got to wear your Ranger jacket when you go to town, and you got to travel in 2s and 3s, because these guys are going to wait for you and try and lay for you and try and cave your head in with one of them black flashlights. So use good judgment, you know what I'm saying? Now, when the guy got to court, the judge Some people got chain gangs down there. Your Honor, this airborne ranger put 3 of my undercover narcotics officers in the hospital and ripped the door off a police car and did all kind of mayhem and went down to the jail and beat up the jail. No, that's all crock of bull. Okay? And when it got to court, that general came into court and said, I'm about ready to put this whole town off limits. Okay? Now, the problem here is failure to communicate. These abusive people always seem to think that they're going to get away with this. They always seem to think no matter what they do, you know, they're God. They can do whatever they want. Nobody's going to do nothing to them. They're the big, all-powerful, mighty what have you. Well, guess what? Today, folks, we the people, TNT, Dinar, Tony, and the boys, Pam, got the program out, and it's all over the world. They've got about 57 countries now that are involved in this. They got these countries all coming, and they're all, like even Iraq is tweeting, we are the people from Iraq, you know, and we want this fixed right, you know, and I mean, this is all happening, and tomorrow is the big blow-up time, and they have been pulling games like they just did with the phone here and with their phones down there on the radio broadcast, and they're playing all these games. So tonight, I decided to strike like lightning and sound like thunder, which is a Ranger motto, because tomorrow they're probably not even going to be able to get up on the air. And at 10 o'clock your time out there on the West Coast, they're supposed to start a major program with this world Facebook, okay? Well, these bankers are the ones that are pulling the switch on everything. It's all about money, okay? And their coffers are busting to the limits with these exchange rates that they've given the rich and the famous, and they're letting the rich walk right in with bags full of dinar and cash them out, but you stand right next to them and they say, oh, you're not on the list. What? What do you mean I'm not on the list? These are dinar. Cash them out for me. You just cashed that guy before me. Oh, he's on the list. Do you see this now? Do you see what's going on? And these people are allowed to put them in blind trust and send them all over the world to the Swiss bank. Well, the Swiss bank just found out about it and told them, get your damn money out of our account. We don't want you in our bank. We don't want you in our country. What you did to the American people was damnable stupid. Lousy. Now, I need a favor. Can you hear me still?
Yep, we can hear you loud and clear. Go ahead.
I'm asking you most kindly as a favor. These bankers don't seem to understand that we aren't playing. So we're going to send a serious message. Tomorrow, I want everybody who has a Chase Morgan or Chase Morgan Guaranteed Trust bank account or a Wells Fargo bank account to go into the bank about 10:30, 11 o'clock, and I want you to take every nickel and dime out of their bank, every single nickel and dime, and tell them to have a nice day, that they'd rather be banking somewhere else. Thank you very much. Now, please, please, let's do this. We need to send a message. Now, next week, I'll give you 2 or 3 more banks that have been involved in this fraud scam. You see, what they did, if you go into a bank and you sign a paper saying you want to take out a loan and you lie on that, that's a 20-year felony. Did you know that? Does everybody know that? It's a 20-year felony. You lie on a bank application for a loan, you can get 20 years, okay?
Wow.
These guys went in and took this money that they claim now they're claiming is worthless, okay? But when they put it up for collateral on these $1 million loans they got, it was dinar, man. We're cashing it out. What? What are you talking about? That's nothing but monopoly money. I thought you said it was worthless. Now you're using it to collaterally cash in and get big loans and have them loans collect an interest, and then you hide them out in a Swiss bank account? What are you kidding me? That's what's going on, folks. Just to make a small story. If you want to get the whole story, log on to that program, TNTDinar.com. It starts 1 o'clock, or 10 o'clock your time tomorrow morning, okay, over there on the West Coast.
TNT Dinar what?
TNTDinar.com.
TNT. Like the dynamite.
These are brave people. He actually said tonight, if you can't find me tomorrow, go looking down Guantanamo Bay.
You know, most of the people in our group don't have any money in any banks anyway.
Probably not. But you know what? I'm going to make the effort because we need to send a message to these bankers. Boys, we're not playing. We're not playing. Got it? I hope that sunk in because
let me get this straight.
We're not playing.
Let me get this straight. So what you're saying is when it comes to the regular Joe that has dinars, he can't cash them in.
Nope.
But if you're on a list, you can cash them in at
rich,
what?
elite, banking, connected government White House. And I've been calling my favorite congressmen and senators and telling them, don't take it. Don't take the money. Just hand it back to them. Tell them, no, that looks to me like a bribe. I don't believe I'm going to do that.
They won't do that.
So far, I've saved 5 congressmen. And they said they are so glad they listened to me because they would have been in the middle of this firestorm. And now 87, as of this afternoon, 87 have resigned because they don't want to have to come before some committee and explain why they were involved in this.
Wow. It's incredible.
Now, is that heavy duty enough for you folks out there in TV land?
What is
this
that?
Is your big chance.
More?
They're taking millions and millions. I'm telling you, some of these guys collected trillions. And see, they aren't improving the economy at all. That money is sitting in a vault someplace in a tin box, collecting dust. And they're sitting in the corner flipping their coupons, talking about, look at me, I'm rich, I'm rich. Where you people would have gone out and you would have put millions of dollars. I was going to put $2 million in the St. Jude's Hospital for the kids that got cancer. Because I've had cancer 3 times, and I know what it's like laying on them tables with all them hoses and wires and tubes in you. The bottom line is, they robbed the people, especially the people that have been in this for 7 to 10 years, waiting faithfully on every word and rumor and what have you, that when is it going to come in, when is it going to come in, and then to find out these after-the-fact jokers come in and steal the thing right out from under everybody. No, this is un-American. It's un-American. And there's a lot of people that are behind us, with the government even, that are actually giving us documents and telling us stuff and trying to fill us in on who the bad guys are and who's responsible for all this. And then there's a lot of people around the world, in the world community. They have over 57 countries that are in support of what we're doing to stop this fraud, okay? Now, this is so important I can't tell you because this is an opportunity we have waited for a long time. And I happen to know 2 grand juries that are actually investigating this, ready to issue indictments, okay? This is a chance for us, we the people of America, to take back our country and let them know. You thought we were just a bunch of dumb bumpkins sitting over in the corner. Wrong, dog breath. Now you see, if we get organized, and Yamamoto said it best after they bombed Pearl Harbor, I fear we have awakened a sleeping giant. Bingo. Go to the head of your class, pal. And when our Marines got down there to Guadalcanal, they figured it out real quick. Well, guess what? The Marines are getting ready to land in Washington, D.C. You need to understand, we want this fixed, and we'd like you to do it the right way. And try and help America for a change. We'd really appreciate the hell out of that. Do you think you can handle the job, or is it just too big for your little intellect? My suggestion is I'd fix it, and I'd fix it by tomorrow. That's soon enough for you? And I'm damn sure Banker USA out there who's been helping these guys pull this fraud off, we know exactly who you are. We're going to go right down the list. We're going to start with Chase Morgan Guaranty Trust and Wells Fargo Bank, and everybody go in there tomorrow and pull every nickel and dime out of your account. Has everybody got that? I would take that as a great personal favor, because that's going to send a message to big bankers everywhere. Uh-oh, these people aren't playing, and they're shutting down my bank. We can't have that. And that's what we need to do. We need to send the message clear as a bell. You're not getting away with this. You better just damn well fix it, and you better do it tomorrow. I want to hear about people cashing out dinar right and left in every damn bank in the whole United States of America. Let them start understanding. You thought you'd screw with the American people? Wrong, dog breath. You don't screw with Americans. Americans are best on test. And when they send us, they mean business. And we're telling you, fix it. And do it tomorrow. You don't want me to come out of retirement. The last 50 years, man, is a nightmare to you. You wouldn't believe this 50 years. I'll burn your tail. You cannot believe the kind of knowledge I can transfer over one of these radio stations. I can bury you. Literally. Just to give you a little for instance, Does everybody know that in every state in the Union they have no right to tax nothing? Why is that? Title 31 United States Code, Section 742 says very clearly, except as otherwise provided by law, all stocks, bonds, treasury notes, and any other obligations of the United States are exempt from state, municipal, and local taxation. This extends to every form of tax which would require that either the obligations and green things in your pocket or the interest thereon is how they do their property taxes, or both considered directly or indirectly in the computation of tax. See Memphis Bank versus State of Tennessee at L. Garner. Now, you have that packet in your file there. It's called Title 31, Section 742 Explained. And you know what happened in 1994 when they found out we knew about this? They moved it to Title 31 United States Code, Section 3124, because it took the right of every state in the Union away from tax anything that's an obligation of the United States government. Now we go to Title 12, Section 411 of the Banking Code, and it says, Federal Reserve notes are obligations of the United States government. You can't tax them. You can't figure a tax in them. You can't figure no interest in a tax on the interest. Now, I can do this all day, folks, right off the top of my head. You keep messing with the American people, and you're going to find out. They don't call me the walking law library for nothing in every federal court for a 200-mile radius where I live. I can burn your tail. I can show you how the United States government doesn't even exist in law since House Joint Resolution 192, June 5th, 1933. You haven't existed actually since 1861 at the Civil War when they sundied the Congress. And they never had a date certain to meet back again. And when the Civil War was over, those weren't congressmen they sent to the South to take over, were they? They were overseers. Now, how did I get a 2/3 majority vote in the Congress on all the laws you passed? I didn't. So all the laws are illegal? That's right. Now, you want to mess with this old paratrooper? You come try it. They called me the Iceman in Vietnam. They had a good reason for that. I'm not going to play with you. I'm going to smoke your ass. Now, you fix this thing and you make the American people proud to be American again. And we shouldn't have to feel obliged to apologize for your sorry ass, as you went out and did this fraud and then tried to involve the whole world in covering up to where the money's hidden. You fix this and you damn well better do it good, because every time I come out here, I'm going to tell the people something real important. Imagine if every time you tried to charge them with something, they came back with a motion to quash, strike, and dismiss, failure to state a cause of action upon which relief can be granted. The United States is not a real country. They're nothing but a fiction of law. They don't exist in law. Why? They went bankrupt in 1933, June 5th, House Joint Resolution 192. What is a bankrupt corporation, Your Honor? Civilly dead. You don't exist. You got to have a trustee of the bankruptcy to even open your court. I've proved it. I asked the bailiff, go get me his card over there, that prosecutor from the United States Attorney. He said, I need to have the right address so I can send him the best papers, okay? He came back with the guy's card, and I said, excuse me, Your Honor, when he started speaking, this gentleman doesn't have a right to speak. What? What are you talking about? That's the U.S. Attorney. I don't care if he's a man from Glad. He doesn't have a right to speak. I have his card right here, and it doesn't say on there, trustee of the United States Bankruptcy Court. So I must assume that he's not a trustee of the United States Bankruptcy Court. He doesn't even have raised letters on his card, so he ain't real proud of what he does. I said, I submit this to the bailiff for your perusal, Your Honor. You'll see he's not a trustee. He doesn't have a right to speak, Judge. Only a trustee of the bankruptcy court can speak before this court on a bankrupt entity, and the United States is bankrupt. House Joint Resolution 192, June 5th, 1933. The guy stood up and says, you have got to be kidding. And the judge turned to him and said, shut up, sit down, I'll tell you when you can talk. 19 minutes later, I was walking out in my own recognizance, being charged with 27 years of income tax violations, and I ripped the floor right out from under him. All of you people out there can do this. All of you. Everyone. Every time these people want to charge you something, fine. Motion to quash, strike, and dismiss, Your Honor, failure to state a cause upon which relief can be granted. These guys are not a real body.
Slow down, honey.
They're not real. They don't exist. As a matter of fact, they're civilly dead, Judge. Isn't a bankrupt corporation civilly dead? Well, that's right. So they don't have a right to come before your court and speak nothing unless they got a trustee of the bankruptcy court with them. Well, that's right.
Slow down, Constitution man. You're going too fast.
I move for you to strike this complaint, Judge. He's not a trustee of the bankruptcy court. And that prosecutor got up, red-faced as hell, and that judge told him time after time, shut up, I said, sit down, I'll handle this. 19 minutes later, I walked out. I said, you know, Your Honor, and this is a true story, and I apologize because some of it's a little bit swear-wordy, but they charged me with 27 years of income tax. And I told them, I said, well, I've heard it said that a United States attorney can indict a ham sandwich. And everybody laughed. They thought that was real funny. And I said, but I'm here to tell you, this is a damn fool complaint. And if you bring this damn fool complaint, I'm here to tell you, you better crawl upstairs in that dusty loft on the 10th floor and pull out the real thick books, because I'm here to tell you I have already done that. And if you bring this damn fool complaint, I'm going to tell you to make my day, just like old Clint Eastwood. And the whole court was in shock. You could have heard the echo on Mars. And then everybody laughed, and then even the judge was laughing. And the poor public defender, they put the stand next to me, reached to heaven and looked directly in the ceiling where God was and said, why me? What did I ever do? 19 minutes later, I walked out of that court free as a bird in jail clothes with all the cops holding their guns and the bailiff escorting me to the front door saying, judge says let that one go, he's heavy duty. Well, this can be done by each and every one of you. The time for worrying about crap is over. That's what I'm giving you tonight. And I'm giving you that because these guys deliberately didn't fix this, and I gave them 2 days. That's more than enough time to make a phone call and say, fix this. They could have made a phone call, and it would have all been fixed. But no. So now you reap the whirlwind. Have fun in court. And I'm telling every one of you, if you ain't having fun, you ain't doing it right.
That's right. How do you handle
I want you laughing when you leave that courtroom. I want you to stand out in front of that courthouse, and I want you to take your fists out there and beat them on your chest and give them the, That's what I did. All the cops laughing their ass off. Mess with that paratrooper. He's heavy duty. He will get you. He will get you. They didn't call him the Iceman for nothing. You should see the beautiful knife that they gave. All hand carved, and it's got alligators all over it that Ranger Ron got for me. It was real nice. And on the bottom it says the Iceman, Ranger Airborne. And then it says the alligators talking to each other and the paratrooper's coming out of the plane. He goes, here comes dinner. Now, this ain't a knife. This thing is a Roman short sword. I said, man, if you fell in the water with that on, you'd drown. He laughed. Anyway, I got to watch getting this wound up. You can tell I'm very passionate, and I bleed like right now. So I'm going to just slow down a little bit now and share with you. I'm very angry about this. I'm very angry about my country and its good name being trashed all over the world by a bunch of Shylock jackasses that don't realize there's more to life than greed and money. And you're supposed to be gentlemen. Duty, honor, country, pride in the core was how I was raised by very fine soldiers, some of which can't be here today. One of them is that crazy soldier in that movie, We Were Soldiers Once and Young. That command sergeant major died in my arms, telling me, tell my wife, tell my kids I love them. 9 kids. The guy only had 9 days to go. He got shot. I told him, I'll take care of your Foot Locker store. Just stay in the damn hooch and don't go no place. No, he had to go out and take care of his boys, because that's the kind of guy he was. He got shot, and the general cried all the way to the hospital. I kept trying to tell him, take it easy, Sergeant Major. Everything's going to be fine. Just stay calm. We're only 5 minutes from the hospital. We'll be there any minute. We redlined the aircraft. We're going to be there any minute. Just stay calm. Stay calm. We'll have you in the hospital any second. We'll crash land the bird if we have to make sure we get you in there. Now, come on. My brave men died. A lot of them in my arms, and I'm pissed. This was supposed to be for the soldiers of America that fought these wars. They ain't getting a nickel. All them philanderers are down in Washington. They're cashing out in the back door and getting all the money, and none of the little people are getting the zip, let alone the soldiers lying up in hospitals all shot to pieces. You haven't lived till you've been to a veterans hospital. I've been to veterans hospitals, and you know what the damn nurses did? They bet. We bet that we can get that old man over there to lift off the bed by 3 foot. And they actually took a bet on it. And at 4 o'clock in the morning, they jumped me, put me in a chokehold. Well, now 4 o'clock in the morning, it's usually pretty quiet. You know what I'm saying? Not that morning. I came out of that bed, I cleared that bed easily by 3 foot. And all you heard going down the halls of that veterans hospital was, and all of a sudden, all them soldiers started laughing. And they laughed their ass off. And all day that nurse, hey, you jump into them old paratroopers lately? I'll bet you don't never do that again. You had to go home and change your blouse, didn't you? They laughed him off the floor. And the doctor come up and found out my stitches got ripped because I was screwing around with this stupid nurse. That's when he fired that nurse and said he'll never work in another hospital again. And he took me back up to emergency and stitched me up again in emergency. Now, I'm telling you, we treat our veterans like crap. We got to quit doing that. You got to quit doing that. Go down to a veterans hospital. Take a walk through. See those poor guys laying there all shot to pieces. This is absolutely obscene. I got up, put my clothes on after I was done. The doc says to me, where are you going? I says, Doc, I got to get out of here. He says, come on, man, stay a little while. You really need to stick around so we can make sure you're totally healed up. And I says, Doc, if I stay here, I'm going to end up killing somebody. That guy is so lucky he's alive, he cannot believe how close. If I'd have been fresh back from Vietnam, his head would have been off and in his hands. Now, I can't take a chance of killing somebody because they got a great sense of humor. And let's see if we can get the old guy to clear the bed by 3 foot. Well, you got me to clear the bed by 3 foot, pal, but I know you had to go home and change your drawers because they were full of crap.
Got some people lined up to ask you questions.
All right, let's do that next. I got that on the list next. We got to get some of the people some help. I hope everybody was taking real good notes there because I gave you stuff that's 100% lawful. And I'm telling you, if you use it, you'll scare the bejeebers out of them, and they'll turn and look at each other, and the next thing you know, you're going to be walking out a free person. So let's start on, Bushmaster.
Okay, first of all, Frank here wants to know how do you deal with an employer. Hold on a second, let me find the message, the question. It was here a minute ago. Let me see. Hold on a second. Let's know how to deal with an employer that's, let's see here, how to deal with an employer that complies with an IRS tax levy and how to deal with the IRS in court.
First of all, let me explain something to you. The tax is not deemed to be owing if it is not a proper assessment. Did everybody hear me say that?
Yep.
The case you want is Western Trading Company versus United States. Just go to Google, look up Western Trading Company versus United States. It'll come up. In the very first paragraph, it's going to say if the assessment is not properly done, the tax is deemed not to be owing. Okay? So burn that into your brain first. Next, I have a whole packet in there explaining. There's several letters, Pastor Garth letters, okay, that are on your file, and I gave you all these files, okay?
I think that's on the website, yeah.
It's on there. Pastor Garth, how to deal with your employer, how to deal with the bank, how to deal with, the tax assessor's office downtown, all of that. It's letters to them, how to deal with it. Now, it explains in great detail. First of all, look on the assessment. Up in the left-hand corner, there has to be a number that it's a 686 parens B, small b. If it is not a 686 small b parens b, it is not a real assessment. It's a made-up. It is what is called a notice of intent to lien. Got me?
Repeat that again. If it's a what?
If it's a 686B, it's a valid lien or assessment, okay? Mm-hmm. But they'll have 668YCS and all kind of other things up there. Those are nothing but notice of intent to lien. A notice of intent to lien is not a lien within the meaning of the Internal Revenue Code. It's nothing but a scam. Now go down in the bottom left-hand corner of the document, and you're going to see two people signing the same document, except there'll be a little small FOR, which means that one person is signing on behalf of the other person. You then want to ask that IRS person, where is, or your boss at work, where's the power of attorney that says this person can sign for that person? There isn't one. Well, This is not a valid document. There has to be a power of attorney before somebody can TST and sign for another person. Can I sign for you? How about I sign a big bank company check and I sign your name? What would you think about that? I'd be in jail. That's what would be happening there because we'd be talking about forgery. But that's exactly what's going on. One person is forging the name of the other person like they have authority to do this and they have a valid power of attorney. Look on the back of the document. There's no power of attorney. Got me? Next, go to the right lower part of that document, and you're going to see somebody signing, and it says revenue agent. Okay? A revenue agent is a GS9 or below. Supposed to say GS11, collection branch manager. They never do that. They put a revenue agent down there. Revenue agent has no authority to sign an assessment. That's totally verboten. So now we have an assessment here that's totally bull. It's not even signed by a GS11 collection branch manager. It's signed by a person forging somebody else's name, and it's not even the right number for that document. If you go look in the congressional record and what they put that document down and registered as, you're going to find out unless it's a 686 small b, it's not even a valid assessment. Now, if it's not a valid assessment, we go to Western Trading Company versus United States, and it says if there's no lawful assessment, the tax is not deemed to be owing. Will that be cash or charge? Have a nice day. Hole. You can tell they don't like to talk to me. And then I asked this one U.S. attorney, I was ordered to come to this meeting, the same kind of stuff, and they, of course, you come down here and I'm going to talk to you as attorney. And I'm ordering this. This is a federal judge, the chief federal judge. And so I go down there and I says, let me ask you a question. Have you ever read Title 26 United States Code, Section 7851? The part where it says that the entire Internal Revenue Code was never enacted into law, that they did that deliberately so they wouldn't have to repeal the 1939 Tax Act because that's where all the collection authority was, to collect people's property, and they didn't want to lose that authority. So what they did is they just never entered an active date for when this Title 26 became law. Are you aware of that? Have you ever read Title 26 United States Code, Section 7851? I recommend you read the first 10 pages. Meticulously, back and forth, at least 10 times. Because you're going to find out this entire Title 26 United States Code is not even acted into law. You want to comment on that right now? Because you're perpetrating a felony. You're impersonating an officer, and you're claiming to be unlawful authority, and you are neither. Got me? He said, order the marshals to remove this man from my office. I hold the record, 8 minutes and 12 seconds. I'm the guy that holds the record for being removed. And I said, oh, you must have a very excellent attorney. And he says to me, what do you mean by that? Are you threatening me? I said, sir, I was ordered to be here this morning by the Honorable Horace R. Gilmore, big round face, never smiles, has zero sense of humor, Chief Judge of the United States Federal District Court, and you're telling me you're not going to hold a meeting. I'm going to have to go back and tell him you told him to screw off and die. And then I held my fingers up and looked through the four fingers like I was looking through a jail cell, and I said, you must have a very excellent attorney. And he goes, well, no, let's not be hasty here. I think we can work this out. And I said, oh, I would hope so, because I can tell you, Horace has zero sense of humor when you don't listen to his order, and almost always you end up in jail. So we worked it out, and he ain't bothered my client in 15 years. You see, there's always a remedy. You just got to stay calm and think. And I will tell you, God's honest truth, sometimes I didn't even know what I was going to say, and all of a sudden it just came out. So I know God has a big handle in this. I can tell you there were times where I was sitting there and I'm going, oh, my God, they're going to put you in a nut house in the next 10 minutes. What do you think of that? And the lawyer that they put to stand next to me says, there's nothing I can do. They're going to take it. You're going to the nut house. I said, is that a fact? When I was done, he tore his bar card in half and gave me the other half. He says, today, you were an attorney. You were the most fine attorney I've ever sat next to. And by God, I'm proud enough to tear my bar card in half and give you the other half because you were an attorney today. I don't know how you pulled that off. I'm telling you right now, I couldn't have pulled that off. And he's now the chief judge in Grosse Pointe, Michigan. He said, you are an amazing person. He said, I don't know where you came up with those ideas that you presented to that psychiatrist, but you just pulled the rug out from under her, and when it was done and the And the judge says, I don't need to hear you. I said, now you've been here in court today. You made a determination that this gentleman doesn't understand what's going on or have the ability to defend himself. Is that correct? Well, yes, sir. And at the same time, you told me that I don't have any ability to defend myself. Isn't that correct, ma'am? And she said, yes, that's correct. And I said, well, you've had occasion to be here today. Can you, based on your observation today, make that same determination? And she went, yes, yes. And the judge says, that's it. I don't need to hear another word from her. I'm dismissing her. You don't need to say anything else. And you don't need to bring your special counsel in to defend yourself. I'm dropping this whole case. They let me go.
That's wonderful. I love when that happens.
I've been fortunate, 1994.
It comes right out of your mouth, and you had no control over it.
Had over control, and God just did it. He just did it. And guess what he said? I asked her if she had ever examined one of these little pocket dictionaries. And she said, yeah, she had one herself in her own valise. And I said, now, when you look in that dictionary and you look for a word, it doesn't always have a full definition like a regular big dictionary would have, right? And she had made a determination that I had not been fully truthful and I had not been forthcoming and given the total answers that she thought was appropriate, and that I was tangential and argued all around the moon and stuff. And I said, now, what, didn't you testify that this gentleman had been extremely courteous and never threatened you or anything, was professional and treated you at all times with great courtesy? And she said, well, yes, you did do that. And I said, and did he not answer your questions to the best of his ability, or at least try and answer the questions until you told him to stop? And she said, yeah, you did do that. And I said, well, now, let me ask you, when you look in this dictionary and you look for a word and the word is defined by the very word you're looking for, and the bottom line is that's not significant, but that's all this dictionary, that's all it goes to. You know what I'm saying? So you're kind of stuck with that dictionary if that's the only one you want to go to, unless you go to a bigger dictionary. Isn't that right? And she goes, well, yeah, I suppose you could do that. And I said, well, isn't that what the defendant did? And she shut right up, you know, and the judge looked down at her. He says, well, would you answer the question, miss? You know? How you going to answer the question? And she couldn't answer the question. And that judge, that old guy, turned around. He said, look, I've heard enough from this witness. You can remove her right now. But when I asked her, now you've had occasion to be here all day for this testimony, are you still going to stand to your position that the gentleman doesn't understand what's going on, doesn't understand how the court works, doesn't have any ability to defend himself, et cetera, et cetera? That's your determination. You signed it right here. I have a copy of it right here. And that's when the judge pulled the plug on her and told her, you can step down now, honey. And I didn't go to the nut house that day, but I went other days. I hate to say it, but in the old days, it was a lot harder than it is today. Today, I hear people on talk shows all over the world talking about, we are the people, and this is the Constitution, and we got our rights. And you didn't hear that back in the day when I started. I was like John the Baptist in the wilderness, and I couldn't even speak the language. And they would just pick you up and toss you in a nut house. That's why this one guy up in Washington doesn't understand when he gets going. He really is quite good at going, but he doesn't understand. If he came to Michigan, he'd be in a nut house because they would just toss you in a nut house. They don't play with you in Michigan. This guy, Rentz.
Oh, Jeff Rentz?
Yeah. He's very smart. He knows what he's talking about, but he'd go right to the nut house. They just pick you up and talk. They've done it to me 6 times. And, of course, when they get you down to the nut house, they can pretty well do whatever they want. They can try and fill you full of drugs and do all kind of stuff. So the doctor gets me in for an interview, and right away I says, who are you? And he goes, I'm the doctor. I says, do you have an appointment? And he goes, what? I said, do you have an appointment? I only see people by appointment. And he goes, you're not on my docket. My girl hasn't put you down on my docket. And he says, I'm the doctor. I said, I don't care if you're the man from Glad. I only see people by appointment. Do you have an appointment or not? Do you see people by appointment? Well, yeah. Well, so do I. And he actually put that on the record as proof of my sanity. I demanded an appointment. Now, that came from God, trust me. God has given me a unique sense of humor. He really has. And I just was so floored to ask that guy, well, do you have an appointment? The look on his face was just absolutely precious. And he goes, I'm the doctor. I don't need an appointment. Oh, no, you got to have an appointment. Now,
Okay, well, we've got
I want
three
you
more
to do.
people
I
in
want you to
line.
be creative. Creative.
Want to take some more questions?
Go. Let's do it. I hope that helped that other guy. Tell him
I
to
hope
go
so,
to those
too.
2 files. One is called Pastor Garth on filing letters to employers, banks, and what have you. And the other is the actual 112-page letter that says the entire thing is illegal as applied to me. And believe it or not, that 112-page document I read to the court from memory.
Wow.
And I'll tell you what, they stood up and took notice. I memorized the whole document and read it to them. And they had a hissy fit and had to dismiss everything. So I'm telling you, the name of the game is outwork the bums.
Yeah.
Go get
you gotta
those
study.
documents out of her file, okay? All right, let's get another question.
Okay, Southwest Florida. Go ahead. You've been unmuted. Do you have a question?
Hi, Carl.
How you doing?
My question is, why is Carl such a shit-talking, bullshit motherfucker, son of a bitch? You're actually
Do me a favor. Can you go near a window? Because you're breaking up real bad.
I don't think we want to hear what he had to say because it sounded like it was just,
mumbling to me.
Foul
Yeah, and I
language.
can't understand the word. Or was it foul language?
Okay.
It was foul language?
Yeah, I was all foul
Come on
language.
now, we got ladies out here. We can't be doing foul language. I mean, I
know.
slip every now and then myself, but the bottom line is we got to be at least professional, okay? And you damn sure can't do that to a judge.
All right. Well, next we have North and West Colorado. Go ahead. Did you have a question?
Northern California.
Oh, I've been unmuted too.
Oh, yeah,
wow.
that's,
So,
hold
All right,
on,
what's the question?
Buzz. Hold on, Buzz.
Yep, okay.
North and West Colorado.
that's me.
Okay.
Hold on, he was first. Buzz, go ahead. Sorry.
Thank you. Hey, Constitution Man.
How you doing?
I'm fine, thank you.
Can you hear me?
Can you hear me? Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
You're a true American superhero. Is how I would put
Well,
it.
I'm just trying to make sure everybody gets their day. And I got a little story.
You're a true American superhero.
Well, I'm trying. I'm trying to do the best I can to make sure every little person gets their day.
Well, thank you. And so, in that regards, I actually wanted to ask a question on behalf of somebody that I've been helping who went into unlawful detainer court today in California. And as she described it, she was laughed out of court, but I think she was a bit emotional at that point. What happened is she was served a unlawful detainer complaint, and I had prepared a jurisdictional challenge based on the fact that the attorneys will always verify the complaint themselves in California when they're suing, when they're trying to end a foreclosure and get the homeowner.
You're gonna
out.
laugh. You're gonna laugh. Don't laugh too hard on this because I really want you to look. Go look at the papers and see if that attorney filed an appearance.
Well, in California, they don't need to. I've looked into that.
Oh, come on. You always have to file an appearance. That's the rules. If you don't file an appearance, how do I know who you are?
I know. I've looked in the rules, and I haven't found anything that says they have to. And from everything that I've heard, it's just they don't have to in California.
That's ridiculous.
So,
well, for sure, that would be a jurisdictional defect. That would be a jurisdictional defect. Okay.
I don't disagree with you, but what I'm dealing with here is a solid jurisdictional defect, which is the attorney is verifying the complaint. Okay. And so I spent a lot of time researching this because it was for my own challenge to the unlawful detainer that was unsuccessful. But I've run it by several people, and nobody said that there's a problem with it. So this was the first time I've gotten to deploy this, which I deployed in the form of a motion to strike because it was appropriate under the rules of court. So the problem is not the complaint, the motion to strike itself. The opposition that was filed by the bank's attorney was a complete joke, and it just was, they tried to, they built up a straw man and struck it down. The problem was when she went into court today, she didn't know how to force that judge to hear the motion to strike, which was going at the jurisdictional issue. The judge basically said, "No, you can't do that right now." This, he blew a bunch of smoke up her ass. Basically, is what he did. And because she wasn't able, she didn't, I tried to coach her all week. We spent a lot of time on the phone. She's in Southern California. I'm in Northern California. Okay. And, I went through the same thing, and, I know what it's like going through that, and she just wasn't grasping what she needed to know in order to tell that judge, to go take a hike. So, in other words, basically they just laughed it off is how she described it. So my question is, what can we do to go in there? What's a real effective technique?
Well, the very first thing, you have to follow the court rules very meticulously, and I usually catch them on some error in that way. But one of the things that's very clear in any court you go to, if you have effectively stood there and challenged jurisdiction where they have to prove, especially standing, and in the federal courts, it's Title 28 United States Code Rule 17A1, and if they can't prove standing, they have no right to be there. And there's a bunch of cases that uphold to that. I'm trying to think of the case out there in Massachusetts. I'm a little tired.
Well, let me broaden my question.
If they can't prove, well, wait. Let's take it a little bit at a time. First of all, when we dissect this kind of stuff, you have to take it a little bit at a time. The first issue in any court battle is jurisdiction and venue. Okay. Now, if she has effectively said, "Hey, I challenge your jurisdiction," the law says, and this is what it says in Title V United States Code Section 556D, as in David. The proponent of a rule or order has the entire burden and proof of all claims made. Now that follows up with Haynes versus Kerner, and the other one is McNutt versus General Motors Acceptance Corporation, which says once jurisdiction is timely challenged, the burden is on the claimant to make any and all proofs. And failing that, they give up the claim. Okay?
I should just let me clarify that this is in state court, just so you.
It doesn't matter. State court, federal court, it's the same.
Okay.
McNutt versus General Motors Acceptance Corporation is unrefutable, the leading case on it, and Haynes versus Kerner is a follow-up case. And both of them are strong as a bull, and they basically say if you have challenged jurisdiction in a timely manner, and all you have to say is I challenge jurisdiction, and it's on the record, and they haven't timely proved it, and they don't have a claim, Judge, and then he'll turn to them and say, well, what do you got to say for yourself? And usually they won't have any proof that they have any jurisdiction. Not real jurisdiction. And I don't want to hear this crap that they got the property transferred to them. Well, what Regulation Z says, that they got to give me 3 days notice of any assignments. I got no notice from these guys. I'll give you an affidavit to that effect. They didn't follow Regulation Z. They breached the contract. They have no claim against the property, right? They separated the note from the mortgage because they broke the chain of title, right? Once you break the chain of title, then we go to Christopher versus...
With all due respect, let me interrupt you, because I know what you're getting at, and all that's great. The problem is a more fundamental issue, which is the judges. We got to be able to tell the judges that they're somehow, they're not doing their job, because that's the problem.
I do that.
Right?
I actually put their name and sue them. That's another thing she could have done. She could have walked in with a lawsuit and said, first of all, Judge, I believe the jurisdiction of your court is $25,000. Isn't that right, at the lower district? Well, this case is a $25 million case, Judge, so you have no jurisdiction to even hear the case because it's way over your limits monetarily. Second of all, there's no way you can sit on this case, Judge, because I've named you as a defendant, sir. You must recuse yourself at this time. And then that blows him off the case.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's definitely something that I've actually done that myself before. So,
well, that's what you have to do, because these judges are crooked as hell. I really think they have an interest. They have an interest in the outcome. And what I found is in the Judicial Tenure Commission in the state of Michigan, for every $18 that comes across that bench, they have so much interest in their retirement fund. Well, that's a violation of judicial canon. You can't have an interest in this case, Judge. That's Michigan Court Rule 2.003A1, which says you can't have a financial interest in the outcome of the case.
Yeah, we have a guy here in California named, I think his name is Richard Fine. He's in Southern California, and he's been spearheading a huge campaign about that. He's been completely, abused by the system, arrested, and they tried to shut him up and everything. But he's all over that. But
the biggest problem I see with all pro se litigants that are trying to fight these foreclosure cases is they don't get on the program fast enough with the lawsuit. You have to have a lawsuit, because in every state in the foreclosure law, in Michigan, it's Michigan MCLA 600.3204, and there's 4 criteria that they have before you can get a foreclosure. One, you have to be the real party in interest with an actual interest in the case. You have to have an interest in the note, okay? 2, you can't have any legal action pending. You can't do that, or the foreclosure doesn't go forward. It's blocked, okay? 3, you have to actually follow the rules of the state court in the process and time. And one of the things that they require is that you give a face-to-face meeting to the party and see if we can work out some kind of a modification here. And then 4, these guys took the TARP Act money saying they would help people stay in their homes. They lied like hell. They played that Obama character for a sucker. And they took that money, and they're not helping people get in, stay in their house. As a matter of fact, Bank of America is giving rewards to their employees who figure ways to screw the people out of their modification. Now, there's got to be some leveling of the field here. And unless you can send a message clear as a bell to these people, hey, I will sue you, Judge, and the judge will say, oh, I got immunity. 3 judges just tried that with me. They ain't got no immunity. There's no immunity if you're violating my constitutional rights, Your Honor. Article 3, Clause 1 of the Constitution says you serve as a judge of a court of record in good behavior. You got to be in good behavior. And if you're violating my constitutional rights under 42 U.S. Code 1983, 1985, and 1986, you're not in good behavior, pal. On top of that, I've had occasion to pull your oath of office, and you don't have one, Judge, and I've got a certified apostille seal from the clerk of the courts that says you don't have a timely filed oath of office. Therefore, everything you rule on is bullcrap. I mean, it's not.
Right.
You're a quorum non judice, Your Honor. Puerto Bail Bonds versus State of Texas says anything you sign, rule, order, or anything is moot because it doesn't exist in law. It's void ab initio. So I'm charging you, Judge, as not a lawfully seated judge. You're a quorum non judice. I'd ask you to step down out of courtesy and get off of my case. Otherwise, I'm going to have no other choice. I'm telling you now, I'll sue you. Now I'm suing the judge. Can that judge sit on that bench case? No, I got to get out of here. He'll run off the bench so fast. And how I deal with the attorney is really clever. Not that I'm that clever, but I'm just telling you. I get the attorney to get in there, and he starts talking. I said, well, Your Honor, before this matter proceeds further, I would like the court to read this attorney his rights under Miranda versus Arizona, Dickerson versus United States. And he goes, what? Where's this going, counsel? I said, well, if he's going to commit a felony in your courtroom this morning and lie and get busted for perjury, I think it's only fair that he get read his rights. Man, that guy closed his case so fast, and you could hear the vacuum on that door. He cleared that courtroom, and the judge looked over and smiled. He goes, that's damn clever. I suppose you want me now to rule that he didn't appear. Bingo, Judge.
Good one. Well,
try that one. Mind. That one's a lot of fun. That guy will clear that courtroom so fast. He's going to commit a felony in your court, Judge. I think you ought to at least read him his right. That's fair. We want to be fair.
Can I switch gears to another quick question?
All right, go quick, because there's other people in line here, and we want to get them all.
I understand, but this is something that I think everybody can benefit from. So I've been labeled as one of these so-called sovereign citizens, and what I've discovered after I did a little research is that the FBI put out a memo in 2011 that, defined what these so-called sovereign citizens are supposed to be. And this went out to all local law enforcement, it seems, all over the country. And so I've had several incidents over the past, let's say, year and a couple of months, including arrests and being brought to jail and incarcerated and actually spending several days in jail for vehicle code.
Sounds to me like you were slandered, libeled, and defamed.
Absolutely.
Sounds to me like you were slandered, libeled, and defamed. I would just ask them who their attorney of record is, because you want to make sure you get the right names on the papers when we go to court.
Okay.
Now, see, I can get away with a lot more than you can, because as soon as they call me up, first of all, there's a big R13 that comes on the document which says, retired, extremely dangerous, ex-airborne ranger trained to kill, and they just get real nice after that, and it says, don't mess. And then I usually, when they give my name, they'll go, the Carl Miller, and he goes, well, I don't know if he's the Carl Miller, but he's one of them. And then I'll usually hear the sergeant yell, well, for God's sake, don't give that guy no ticket. He goes, Sergeant, he ain't got no plates on the car, he ain't got no license, he ain't got shit. And he goes, I don't give a damn what he ain't got. You just tell him to have a nice day and hope he don't get no papers in the mail, because that guy will drag you to the Supreme Court and sue your balls off. And then all the cops start laughing on the radio, and then the sergeant says, all right, clear this net, get off my radio.
Okay, so you've pretty much confirmed what I know I need to do. My problem is I haven't established that reputation yet, and so I was going to ask, what do I need to do to establish a rep?
All right, well, just send them a notice of lieutenant. You're about to be sued. You slandered and libeled and defamed me. You put my name on some kind of a negative so-called hit list. You deliberately caused me great violation of my rights, false imprisonment. It's $1.8 million per day for false arrest and false imprisonment. I'm going to add up my damages. I'm looking at about $3 trillion here.
Okay.
You own any lakefront property? I do love lakefront property. I'll be
Very
putting
good.
liens and levies. I'll be putting liens and levies on your property come next Tuesday. So you make sure you're real careful what you're going to do, pal, because I can tell you I can be at that county seat in an hour, and I'll know every piece of property you own.
All right. Well, thanks very much for your time, and I also appreciate you helping my friend K.O. in Washington. He took over for me when I couldn't in his unlawful detainer. So
Carl? Are you talking about Carol? Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm trying to help him right now.
No,
help him right now.
Okay.
Yeah, I appreciate you doing that because I couldn't carry on assisting him. So I appreciate you. Picking up
he's
for
laid back in the weeds. His problem is he's laid back in the weeds, and he's hard to reach at times, and it's hard to see if he's actually staying on track with what I tell him. But we're getting there.
He's a procrastinator. He wants to make sure everything is right. So you have to tell him
I can also tell that he's an old timer, and he's going to be real careful.
Yeah, he is.
That's why I would want him to do that anyway. Yeah,
well, he has had a hard time, and he's just trying to live out the rest of his years in peace. So
yeah, just leave me the hell alone. That's right.
Exactly.
Leave me alone.
Yeah.
Go find somebody else to screw with. I'm your worst nightmare if we go to court.
He's on the call right now.
All right, give me another one. Let's go. Stand up, look up.
All right, Nancy, where are you there?
Yeah, I am.
There you go. Hi.
Is this Nancy the nurse? Is this Nancy the nurse?
No, this is Nancy.
Oh, I get a lot of mail from Nancy the nurse. Okay.
No. Well, we haven't communicated for a long time. I'm in a federal case on tax and they were citing a case that's Celotex, which they said all that's necessary is I don't know if the word is valid, but an assessment. And I'm taking apart all their things where they've done the assessments.
Are you looking at the document right now?
Well, not at this instant, but yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want you to get that document, and then I want you to go pull a file with Angela's file and get the letter, Pastor Garth, the 2 letters to Pastor Garth.
Okay. Yeah, I can do that.
And I want you to read those, and then you're going to understand they don't have an assessment.
Well, I know
and
that.
And everything they're doing is illegal. Both state and federal is 100% illegal.
Okay.
Now what we can do, under Title 26 United States Code, Section 7214, if they lie on a document and they demand more money than is deemed to be owing or try and jam you in an unlawful manner where they violate your constitutional rights, you can make what is called a Title 26 7214 complaint to their supervisor, at which point they are relieved from duty immediately pending an investigation and review, and they don't get no money. They hate a Title 26 7214 review.
This is
see that?
Yeah, but this is from the Attorney General's office.
All right, Attorney, which state or federal?
This is federal case, and they're coming after me mainly for a number of years, but 1997, which isn't that beyond their?
All right, here's what I want you to do. I want you to write them a short little letter and say you object to all of their procedures.
You mean to the court?
For fraud.
Well, I've cited.
Can you do that? Just listen. Write stuff down. Just listen.
Okay.
Just take it a little step at a time. We're going to do this one shovel load at a time, and we're going to get this ditch dug tonight, okay?
Yeah.
Now, here's the deal. You write on a piece of paper that you object to their fraudulent and spurious complaints as being they're not founded in law, okay?
Yeah.
You're going to ask them to cease and desist from all such unlawful activities in future.
Okay.
You're going to direct their attention to Title 26, United States Code, Section 7214.
Okay.
You're going to tell them I'm filing a complaint. And then make a recommendation to them that they review Title 26, United States Code, Section 7851 before they proceed further against you. And failure to comply with this lawful request will result in a $100 trillion lawsuit against you and everything you own.
Well, who's the you? The court?
Whatever. I don't know how many people are fooling around with you. You said a U.S. attorney, but there's probably a couple agents involved. There's probably, put down whoever's fooling with you.
Okay, so it would
Send them the same letter. Send the same letter to every one of them.
Okay, to the DOJ and the ones and the court.
And I don't think you got to worry about Eric Holder much longer. I have a feeling he's going to be indicted very shortly.
Well, these are not
taking bribes. He's one of them that took bribes. Got it?
Yeah.
So he ain't going to be sitting there much longer. So you're going to have a new guy to talk to.
Well, this is good because we're past the time they won't accept a dismissal or anything like that because they said,
well, let me ask you, are they past 180 days? Because that's a Speedy Trial Act right there.
This has been going on for 3 years.
Well, then they're past time. They can't do nothing else telling me you're violating my constitutional rights under Speedy Trial Act of the Sixth Amendment. You're way over 180 days. I'm motioning you to dismiss for lack of progress. And that's actually right in the court rules. Rule 12b-6 and 56G is in George.
Yeah.
Scandalous and fraudulent pleadings.
Okay. Also,
I realize this is a lot. So what you really need to do is we need to set up a phone number situation where you give it to Angela.
Okay.
And then she'll find a way. I'll call her and get it, okay?
Okay.
And then what we have to do is I have to sit here and walk you step by step. Slowly she turns through remedy after remedy until all of a sudden you realize we don't want to screw with this lady. Do you understand? For them to screw with you, they have to have permission of the United States Attorney. You know how many times they ask for that? Almost never. They can't issue an indictment without asking the United States Attorney, but they do it all the time. I've won more cases just by saying, by the way, do we have a permission from the United States Attorney to bring this case? And they go, we can get it. Well, get it. You can't even do this. You're talking out of your ass. Your head should have known better. You know better than this. You're just harassing my client.
Well, I've done a lot of that because I cited Balzac versus Puerto Rico and they're...
Write them a letter asking them for permission for them to come after you.
Okay.
They won't have it.
Well, I've asked for, that's not...
You know a guy by the name of Richard Standering who's out of
well, I know the name.
Ohio?
I don't know him.
Yeah.
He's a very smart man. Very smart. Very smart. He has a whole package called his indictment procedure, and it's one of the best I've ever seen. Okay?
Okay.
And probably we could get a hold of him and get a copy of that and maybe get one to you. It's whole package on indictment procedure. And after you read that and you realize how many things they screwed up, and then you just send them a copy and say, look, you screwed up this and this and this and this and this. You did this all wrong. You understand you violated my due process rights. That's Title V, United States Code, Section 706. I'm asking you to do the whole thing over again. Do nouveau. That's what it says at 7, paren 7 off of Title V, Section 706, paren 7. It says if you violated my constitutional rights, you got to do the whole thing over again. Do nouveau. That's French civil law for the whole thing over again, Jack. How much money you got to play with this year? Because I'm going to exhaust it.
Yeah, because they've asked for a summary judgment.
No, you can't get a summary judgment of a pro se litigant. That's impossible. The name of the game is called Haynes versus Kerner, 404 U.S. 519. The test is not whether I'm an attorney, long school, and yard practice of law, not whether I write magnificent legal papers with excellent legal prose and serious legal premise, you know. The test is whether I got an opportunity to be heard, present my case in chief, and barring that, you denied me due process, and therefore you don't have a cause of action to go to Title V again, Section 706. I want my trial de nouveau. Give me a new trial.
Well, I haven't had a trial yet. This has been paperwork.
I know, but they've actually, they got to start over again. They got to start the whole thing over again, the whole case.
Well,
how much money am I talking about here? If they had to do this with every case, how much money am I talking about here?
Millions. I mean, they've been...
Did everybody hear that? Did everybody in TV land out there hear that? Millions. The only thing is you got to bring the letter and you got to bring the complaint. Now, everybody that gets one of these, you give them the letter and the complaint.
Okay.
You violated my rights under my indictment procedure, buddy. For one thing, I have a right to be there. For two things, I have a right to testify before the grand jury. For three things, you're supposed to have a grand jury foreman that issues an authority for what you're doing.
Well,
where's his authority?
This is a civil case.
Now, see, this is all in this Richard Standarding programming.
No, this is a civil case, not a criminal case.
Just to collect money?
Yeah. They want to take the house.
What money? You see any money?
No.
You see any money?
No.
Hmm? Get a book from the Federal Reserve Bank. You can go on Google and you can Google it up. It's called Modern Money Mechanics. Modern Money Mechanics. They actually was put out by the Federal Reserve Bank, and it actually says they make money out of thin air. Really?
Yeah, I know. It comes out.
So what you're saying is there's no intrinsic value to the money. Well, that's technically true. So when you say you have this amount of money, you really have nothing but thin air, isn't that right?
Well,
I suppose you could say that. I did say it.
I've never been paid.
Yeah. See, there's many ways to skin a rabbit. Many ways. Do you hear me?
I have one last.
You just got to be creative. You got to be creative.
Now there's a
You got to pin their hide. Are you lying to this court? Do you understand it's a felony? Do you understand the difference between telling truth and telling lies? Didn't you say I owed you XYZ amount of dollars? What's a dollar? What's a dollar?
Gold and silver.
It's certain silver, 371 grains fine. That's $1 of silver. Now, show me where I owe you all this silver. And if you're going to do that, I'm going to have to demand a jury trial because the value in controversy is over $20. You just said so. Now, you go get 22 silver dollars and you pay the damn jury fee with the 22 silver dollars. They aren't going to like that.
I know somebody had tried that with foreclosure and they wouldn't take this 21.
I had a woman save a $300,000 house doing that. She went to the damn coin dealer and she went right down to the sheriff's sale and she stood right there and she bid her 22 silver dollars and it shut down the whole sheriff's sale. And this big banker bit through an 1.5-inch thick cigar. You can't do that. He bit through the cigar. I just did it. Do your eyes deceive you? Maybe you need glasses.
Yeah, I know somebody that tried it and it didn't work in another state.
It works for me all the time.
Well, I'll be glad.
That lady got her house. She sold her house and moved to Florida.
Sounds good to me. Because there's a Colorado case, and I can't find it, that showed that it was against 3 so-called IRS agents, and they proved that they weren't even had anything to do with the IRS.
Bingo. And is the IRS an officer of the government, really? No.
Well, no.
They're a private corporation that operates out of Guam, Puerto Rico, and the Virgin Islands. They aren't even American.
Well, they're foreign agents.
And that was proved by Hal Dunn in a United States federal court here in Detroit, Michigan. Hal unfortunately passed this year, we're sorry to say.
Okay.
Hal proved clearly that they are not anything to do with the United States government. They're a private corporation, a collection. And I actually have gone to him and says, now, where in this letter do you put on here, we are a collection agent? Because by truth in lending law, they're supposed to put down that they're a collection agent.
Well,
one piece of paper on there that says we are a collection agency.
Well, one of the points that I brought up in this case was that they were a collection agency and they should be under Title 15.
Stop. I don't give them legal advice. I don't tell them nothing. I let them swim and sink by their own ass.
Okay.
I don't tell them nothing. If they don't have it on the document, I hit them for a violation of the Fair Debt Collection Act.
Well, that's what Title 15 is.
Title 15, 1692, G and I. And then I hit them for $1,000 for a phony letter that they sent that they are lawful.
Gee, could I collect all their letters and get $1,000 each?
Lawfully under Title 15, United States Code, Section 1692, parens G, you can. And then you have them validate the debt, and they got 30 days to do it, and if they don't do it, you default their ass, and then they got to leave you alone. They won't validate the debt within 30 days or 130 days.
No, I know that they've tried that with the Colorado state tax, and they've sold the tax to a debt collector. And then I write them
share something with you. Colorado has no right to tax nothing.
Well, I know
Title 31, 742 clearly says that they cannot tax obligations of the United States government. Title 12, Section 411 says the debt instruments are Federal Reserve notes. They can't even charge an interest on the Federal Reserve notes. They're in violation of Title 31, Section 742, which says, except as otherwise provided by law, all stocks, bonds, treasury notes, and any other obligations of the United States are exempt from state or municipal taxation. This exemption extends to every form of tax which would require the interest or the actual debt, the actual note, to be used in compilation of the tax. See Memphis Bank versus State of Tennessee.
And without notifying me, they went to the state court and got a judgment. And then
then you sue the state court because they didn't give you notice of what they were doing. That was a denial of due process. And then you sue the state court on handing out a fraudulent judgment. And then you turn around and look up the judge's oath of office and see if he even has one. If he doesn't have one, sue him for impersonating a judge and file criminal charges. That's a 20-year felony for impersonating a judge.
You know,
Are you starting to see how I work?
Yeah, I cannot get.
Yeah, I don't use that word. Can't is not a Ranger word. We never use can't. Can't, never done nothing. Just put that in your brain. Can't, never done nothing.
Okay.
So you just make up your mind. You're going to do it.
Get the oath of office of the federal,
You'll get the judge. Well, you ain't going to have one. You're not going to have an oath of office for a federal judge because he was appointed.
Oh, okay.
But we were talking about a state judge in Colorado.
Yeah, I know, but that made me think about.
You got to quit changing the subject so fast. I can't keep up that fast.
Okay, me neither. But I
think I'm pretty fast.
Well, you're faster than I am. Anyway, okay. I'll give Angela.
Get a phone number to Angela, and we will just have to sit down and mush this out somehow, some way. But you got to isolate your problems. Problem 1, problem 2, problem 3, and then we take it out each one step by step, slowly she turned, and then we get it done. Okay?
Well, it's mostly the assessment, and 1 year they have me down for.
There's no assessment. You just told me there was no assessment.
Well,
it's not on a Form 668B.
No,
I'm telling you, they didn't sign it properly. It's been forged because they don't have a power of attorney attached thereto and made part thereof by record. And when you go down, you're going to see that it's not signed by a GS-11 or above branch collection manager.
Well, now
you're going to see it signed by a revenue officer, and that's nothing but a G9. They don't exist in signing any assessments.
Well,
lawfully.
They've gotten another person that has, and they've put in an assessment for all the years.
Okay. And whose name did they put in? Was it different than the name that was put on there originally?
Yes.
Okay, where's the power of attorney, boys? I want to see a power of attorney for this signature. Somebody's forging somebody's signature here. That's a felony fraud. Fraud voids the most sacred contract. That's U.S. versus Peel 550-297. You don't have a cause of action for which you leave me granted. You keep spinning around. You're going to do 20 years. You're going to be sitting next to Jimmy Hoff of Going Fishing.
Good, because I mean this has kept me awake and ruined my health for 3 years, and I want to.
Well, we need to get this worked out. We need to tell these guys, leave me alone. I'll give you a fair warning. Just leave me alone.
They've also taken.
I'm going to bring somebody to deal with you, and you ain't going to like it.
They've also been taking 80% of my retirement.
Social Security, totally illegal. Title 42,
no.
Section 407, Chapter 7. You cannot touch Social Security. Not even a bankruptcy judge can touch Social Security unless he has your permission under 34(2) P1 and 2. If you didn't give them your permission to take your pension, they screwed up.
It's not Social Security.
Hey, what is it?
It's the State Retirement Fund. Okay,
well, are you familiar with the Pension Protection Act, House Resolution number 4? Signed by Debbie Stabenow and President.
Well, they claim that I agreed to this, and I haven't been able to get the letter that says.
No, you're not agreed to nothing. You tell them I don't agree, and if you touch it again, I'm going to sue your socks off. Don't touch my property without my express written consent. Fair warning.
Okay.
Well, tell them to start reading. Oh, also, if you go in Angela's file and you look up there on Social Security and Pension Protection, there's a whole series of letters on that in the file on pension protection. Stop touching my Social Security. That's one of the letters. Another one is don't touch my pension under House Resolution 4, signed by Debbie Stabenow, otherwise known as the Pension Protection Act, and it was also signed by Junior.
George Bush?
George Jr. George Jr. signed it on the 18th of December in 2006.
Anybody that wants any of this information, it's on the website, My
Private
Audio.
Website, right.
MyPrivateAudio.com. Just click on the guest speakers link and then click on Constitution Man, and that'll open up the page.
They smoked my computer and ruined my email. And I haven't had the funds to fix it up yet again, but I'll get there again. I've just had so much money to pay in doctor's bills and medical and what have you. I haven't had time to do it. And you're talking about a minimum of to get a good computer, $800, $1,000. I got a family I got to feed and take care of. It's hard for me. It's hard.
If you want a Dell computer, I'm one of their friends and family. I can get a discount.
Well, that'd be very nice. Well, we'll see. Maybe we'll trade favors. A favor for a favor.
Okay.
Godfather, I need a favor. That's my godfather, Guido Sarducci. You know who Guido Sarducci was, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
You can tell I'm a joker because that's.
You want to know who one of my students was? It was Sam Giancano's grandson.
Really?
I know Sam. I know Sam real good. Yeah, Sam and I go way back.
Yeah.
All of those. You're gonna laugh. But when I first got out of the Army, you couldn't get a job because on my DD-214 they put ex-airborne ranger, trained to kill, an extremely dangerous man when provoked. And on the other hand, they had R-13, which is just like in that movie Red. You know, Red with Bruce Willis. Well, I'm the real guy. Okay. And when they pull me over and they see that Red 13 code, it's like, oh shit. And then I get about 8 cop cars pull behind me, you know. And then it's like, oh shit, we got a Red 13 here.
What does that mean?
And then it means retired extremely dangerous.
Oh, jeez.
When the government wanted stuff done, they sent me. I bailed out of aircraft at 28,000 feet, held my chute at 2,200, landed, set up, and took care of business. And we were taking out silver dollars at 1,000 yards.
Wow.
I think about some of the things that we got involved with. You just laugh your ass off. I can't talk about top secret. They would get upset with me if I started writing that book.
All right, let's continue on with Nancy's situation. Or is that it?
Well, Nancy, you're going to have to get a number together for Angela.
Well,
and
she's got one there. Have you got it, or do you want me to email you?
Email me.
You can email her, and then she'll get it to me, and that's done for your protection more than mine, because I'm rather a notorious fellow, and I don't want you picking up the heat from me.
Okay, well.
And they might just want me to watch you suffer, and I don't want to play that stupid game.
Listen, I've been evacuated for forest fire from the national park. I've been evacuated for flood.
Well, you're a tough lady.
And I'm 84, so.
Highly motivated, highly trained. Sir, yes, sir. I can run to the sun. Mess with me. I am infantry.
Right. Okay, thank you. I will look
All right.
to talking
Anything
to you.
I can do, I'll do my best. Just understand that I'm in a lot of medical problems right now, and I'm in and out of hospitals a lot. So if I don't get right back to you instantly, it's probably because an idiot doctor's got me down there in a bed.
Oh, dear.
They're actually threatening the last time to call the sheriff to charge me with endangering my body.
Well, I'll send you a healing code.
Yeah, I need a healing code. I need something, man. These legs are killing me, man. I've been shot up kind of bad. I'm still on my original legs, and see, they wanted to cut them off 4 times. I've been right to the door where they were going to cut them off. I said, Doc, I don't want to lose these legs. What good's a paratrooper with no legs? Come on. You can't jump anymore. I can do any damn thing, sir. I can run to the sun.
All righty, then, Nancy, email me your phone number, and I'll get you in touch with Carl.
You'll get me in touch, and then we're going to take this step by step. Slowly she turned. In the meantime, I want you to get on that file, pick out those 2 Pastor Garth letters to start you out, and then we'll get you into the other things, the Title 31-742 on the property tax. And then we'll get you into any of the others. But I want you to understand, this is a rather considerate topic. Each one of these issues is a rather considerable topic. So you're going to have to be calm and take your time.
I'll split it with you.
Whatever. I'm not worried about splitting it. I'm a multi-billionaire already. I just...
The
problem is, I'm having trouble cashing at the bank. That's the problem. I went into this bank, you'd laugh, in this little town in Indiana, and she says, well, how much would you like to deposit, sir? I said, about $42 million. And her jaw was on the And she says, $42 million? I said, well, they'll come rough around there someplace in dollars. And she goes, I got to talk to the president and the manager. I'll be right back. So much for laughter.
Yeah. All right, let's move along. Okay, Nancy, I'll wait for your email.
Okay.
Next in line is Gigi Boss. You've been unmuted. Hello.
Hey, good evening. Good evening.
There you go. Hi.
Good evening. How are you this fine day?
I'm great. Thank you for being here. I just happened to come on tonight, and I'm glad I did.
You better talk up a lot louder than that. We can barely hear you.
Okay. Hold on. Let me take it off speaker.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay. Since you mentioned that about an indictment, Constitution man, I'm dealing with the situation with my brother who's in jail. He's in the county jail here, and in North Carolina, and he has a public defender who has been pretty inept in helping him out, and one of those that do not return calls, and
fire.
Yeah, that's the next step. But before I get there, I have an issue that came up yesterday. I'm the power of attorney of my brother, have been for a while. And, my brother wanted to have him file the public defender file a motion to quash and some other things because the indictment against him, he's in there on a warrantless arrest. The bill of indictment is not a true bill of indictment because it's not even signed by anyone.
What's the charge?
Under oath.
Do you mind if I ask you what's the charge?
What is it? They're saying it's breaking and or entering, and then they're saying larceny after breaking and or entering.
Did they actually physically catch him?
No, and the indictment and the police report.
How do they know he's the one? Do they have a witness?
Well, they have a witness who said he saw him go behind the house, but of course he didn't say anything about seeing him go in.
Well, that's circumstantial. That's circumstantial. He had an occasion to be in the general area at the time of the break-in, okay? So that's circumstantial. They have to still prove emphatically that he did the deed. If they don't have any evidence that he did the deed, then eventually they'll have to dismiss it. But they're going to sit and try and hold him in jail as long as they can.
Exactly.
And drag
that's
the trial out.
Right. And actually, the house was burnt down.
And then they're going to hope that he decides to talk.
Right. Right.
And then they'll plea him down to a lesser charge if he'll talk.
Mm-hmm.
See, that's how they work this stuff. You really do need a good attorney. You're going to have to get a good attorney, somebody who will do the job. Because this public defender, he's nothing but a lackey. He's not going to do the job.
Okay, but
that's just an excuse for them to say he had an attorney, he had the advice of counsel, when in fact he had ineffective counsel.
Right. Okay, well, the issue that
Or they're holding out information on you that evidence that they really have the right guy.
No,
that would be a violation. That would be a violation of 18 U.S. Code, Section 3200, otherwise known as the Jenks material. If they're holding back evidence, and then later they try and bring it to court, well, hey, and that evidence would have cleared your guy, that would be a serious problem. That would be called U.S. versus Jenks, and they'd have to dismiss everything, and he could claim damages for a god-awful $100 million on false arrest, false imprisonment, and false charges, and slander, libel, and defamation, and a whole bunch of other things, okay? But you've got to have a good attorney, seriously, that's going to go battle this stuff. If you don't have a good attorney, he's just marking time until your boy has slipped into the jail. That's not a good program at all.
Okay, well, I got a letter yesterday from the state bar, and because I'm the power of attorney, I filed an affidavit in my brother's case on his behalf. And of course, yes, it was notarized and all that. And I sent the copy to the attorney, and of course, I sent the copy to my brother.
Did you tell him he was removed? He was removed for irrevocable, or what is called the term is called irreconcilable differences.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well,
okay, but here's my
services are no longer required, and he's dismissed as your brother's attorney for irreconcilable differences, and I make sure you file it with the court.
Okay. All right. So here's the issue with that I have. The attorney wants.
Understand, you're blocking the trial by doing that. You understand? And by blocking the trial, then you can't bring up the 180-day Speedy Trial Act because you created the block of the trial.
Okay.
So get an attorney right away and talk to when can you be on the case. I don't want my boy sitting there for 2 years waiting on a trial.
Right. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay. So when I did that, the attorney, I guess, I'm assuming the attorney went to the bar and reported that on me. And so yesterday I got I received a letter from the bar basically saying that I'm practicing law without a license, or at least they're making an allegation.
Don't even worry about it. I can get you off easy on that. First of all, you have a right to work, right? Isn't that state a right to work state, huh?
Yeah.
Now, here's the argument. It's real simple. Look, I'm an unfranchised common law free woman. I live entirely at the common law. I'm not a participant in any of your tontine schemes of limited liability on a joint venture for profit with an insurable interest. I'm just a regular Jane Doe living out here on the block. And my brother is without recourse. He needs help. And I can't find a serious attorney yet that's going to protect him to the best of my ability. So if I do a few things to help him and get another attorney and what have you, I don't see how that could be wrong. I'm helping my family member, okay? But just in case you want to pull some heavy horse manure, here's what I'm going to do. You bring these stupid charges, I'm going to hit you with Murdoch versus Pennsylvania 319 U.S. 105, which basically says, no state can convert a secured liberty or right into a privilege and then and there require me to have a license and a fee. Now, second, what is that guy? It's Shuttlesworth versus Birmingham, Alabama 373 U.S. 262 says, if you require me to have a license and a fee for the exercise of my right, I have a right to ignore that damn thing, and you can't punish me. It says that right.
I don't think anybody heard a word you said. It was so fast.
All right, let me start over. But by the way, you have this whole argument in your file.
Okay, good. Thank you.
You cannot convert a secured right or a privilege into a privilege and then and there require a license and a fee. Now, what right am I talking about here? How about the right to work? The right to work in the case called Bailey versus Alabama, 219 U.S. 219, says, my right to work is my property owned outright in fee simple absolute by me before the period under consideration even commenced. It was mine. If you look at the preamble of your Constitution, it says these rights are written down to protect these rights undiminished to us and our posterity. That means for all time these rights are supposed to be here because they're from God. The state doesn't even come into it. Now, I have a right to work, and you're telling me I got to go get a license. I'm here to tell you I've relied on the counsel of 9 justices of the U.S. Supreme Court, pal, and I have a perfect defense to the element of willfulness. And that prosecutor standing over there, that's his burden to prove that I did willfully and knowingly avoid a known duty or task under the law with a moral certainty. And I'm here to tell you he couldn't prove that on the best day he ever lived, may it please the court. So therefore, Your Honor, I move for dismissal with prejudice, failure to state a cause of action upon which relief be granted, and be Michigan Court Rule 2.116, Friends C, Friends 8. And I would kind of like to collect my costs and fees for having to defend this patently fraudulent and complaint, and I want 3 times real and personal damages for the fraud done. And I said, thank you, Your Honor, for your valuable time. This happened in Oakland County, Michigan, before the Honorable David F. Breck, Chief Judge, who looked down and turned to the prosecutor and said, well, Mr. Prosecutor, would we venture a response? And the whole court was filled with lawyers watching me get hung. And they all busted out laughing. And the judge says, all right, I'll clear this courtroom. One more outburst, and you're all out in the hall. And then the prosecutor got up and he says, well, Your Honor, in light of the facts just presented to the court, we would have no other alternative but to issue a nolo prosequi, which means they will not prosecute you. And the judge said, good answer, because I don't think you're ready for this kid today. I think he'd go right through the middle of you like Grant went through Grant went through Richmond, and your tail feathers would be on fire. And everybody busted out laughing. And he says, you're free to go, son. And I walked down the hall there. And this old guy come up to me and he said, son, I've been an attorney for 52 years. That was one of the finest arguments I ever heard, shot from the hip. And I know they only gave you a minute to prepare, and I am just in awe of you, sir. You did a phenomenal job. And I know one damn thing, when you go home tonight and drop them drawers, they got to be made out of solid brass, because you just blew the hell out of the Bar Association. And you're our hero, and all these attorneys stood up and went, here, 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 here. Now, you can do the same thing. So if they bust you for practicing law without a license, you're just going to get a hold of me, and I'm just going to show you how to do it. And they're just going to get fried. Got it?
Yeah, I think so.
No, you're going to get it. That whole argument is on Angela's board.
Okay, now that for
and
me,
that applies to every single constitutional right you have, including your right to keep and bear arms. I've used it for that. Okay? So you can use it for the right to keep and bear arms. You can use it for the right to practice law. You can use it for anything where they're trying to convert your right into a privilege and require a license and a fee.
Okay. I'll go back and listen. Thank you so much.
Right. God love you and keep you. And know this, that where there's a will, there's a way.
Amen to that.
Tell these crooked yahoos that we are the people. We are the people. You hear me?
Yeah, we the people. We are the people.
We are the people. We want you to fix it. We want you to fix it. Make sure you get that part in there. We want you to fix it.
Thank you so much.
Not to worry. God love you and keep you.
Okay, anybody else? Press *8 if you have a question.
Stand up, hook up. Let's go. Time waits for no man. You too.
Nobody has their hand up at the moment, so you want to just go. Oh,
nobody has their head up at the moment.
Wait a minute. No, their hand. Gigi Boss, did you have another question?
I put them all to sleep?
Wait a minute. Did you have another question, Gigi Boss?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, go ahead.
If I can get it in. Okay, my other question is, Angela, you remember when Rob Ryder came on and he did a series of calls with the acceptance of the deed?
Yeah.
Process.
Yeah.
Do you know of anyone who did all that? Because I did all mine, and I was just wondering if you knew of anyone else who, since that time,
There's all kind of people that have done that.
Yeah, it didn't do anything though. It didn't do anything though. They wouldn't let me do it I went to the whole thing here in LA at the county recorders. They wouldn't let me do it.
Really?
So,
well, then they violated your rights. Did you happen to point up at that wall, that sign on the wall that says we do not give legal advice?
Well, I said a lot of other things.
That's what I do to them clerks when they do that. I just point to the wall and say, does that sign mean what it says? And they go, yes. And I says, and how come you're giving legal advice? Are you practicing law without a license? No, I would never do that. Okay, well then don't.
Okay, the reason I asked was, after I did the process and they mailed the deed back to me, I noticed when I went on Zillow.com, I saw that my property was sold on that date, the same date they recorded the deed.
That's a lie.
I'm thinking,
it was done in fraud.
No, listen.
Hold on, one at a time.
Yeah. So what I was saying is, I was thinking, since I was in foreclosure, I was thinking, wow, they done sold my house and I didn't even know anything about it because they had it sold on the same date as the date that they I did the acceptance. But when I got the deed back and
did you get any notice?
Oh my God!
Did you get any notice? Did you get any notice?
No. Listen, that's not what I'm saying.
Let her finish, okay? Go ahead, Gigi Boss.
Okay, so what I was saying is, when I recorded the acceptance on that day, and they have to go through their system, I went to Zillow.com, and it said that the house was sold on that day. Now, I bought my house on January 4th of 2004. January 9th, 2004. But I recorded the acceptance on 12/11/11. And lo and behold, when I went there, it said that the house was purchased on 12/11/11 by me. And that was the same date that they recorded the acceptance of the deed. And, of course, since then I've gotten the deed back.
Well, it looks to me like what they did is they accepted your claim. They accepted your claim and put your name on it. That's what it looks like to me.
Yeah, because it's saying it was sold to me.
You. So you're the owner.
Right. So my question was, now if they try to foreclose, there's another deed in there, which is my new deed with my name. And then there's the deed that the warranty deed where we had to get the certified copy of the warranty deed and attach the notary authorization.
Well, you told me it didn't work. It sounds to me like it worked fine.
Right, but I'm saying if they try to come and foreclose on the old deed, the one that they have in their system that, these people trying to foreclose. And
if you've done all this, what you just said, if you did all of what you just told me, they're not going to.
Yeah.
They're not going to waste their time. They're not going to waste their time because they're going to be in the middle of a multi-million-dollar quiet title action.
Okay.
They're not going to fool around. They're going to say, this one's too smart. We just got to let her go. And that's it. And write that one off. You understand, when these guys do these foreclosures, they also write you off for the loss on the debt, right? That goes right off of the top of their taxes. You see that? They also have sold your house at least 8 to 12 times, securitized it.
Sure.
I mean, they didn't lose no money on this. Do you understand? But then they're going to go to the IRS and claim that they did lose money on it. Do you understand?
Right. Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're not going to, if they see you are smart enough to be able to pull this off, they're just going to let it ride. The problem you're going to have is, though, when you come to sell it. When you come to sell it, you're going to have conflicting claims.
Right.
And you'll have what is called encumbrances on the title. And then you'll have to quiet title the action and figure out who's got the real deed. But if you don't ever plan on selling it, you're done.
So when the sheriff comes out and say, "Oh, we're issuing foreclosure papers,"
well, fine. Then you just take that deed. You just take that deed and put it right on the glass. Just say, "Well, read it and weep, buddy. I got 4 aces, jokers are wild, and I'm holding all of them horses. Have a nice day." Will that be cash or charge? And do yourself a favor and don't potty on my grass. My dog hates that.
All right. I just wanted to throw that out there. Thank you.
Well, let's suppose it happened tomorrow and you weren't even prepared. What could you do to stop it? Run down to bankruptcy court, pay them $350, fill out the paperwork, and immediately there would be a hold on the sale.
Right.
Because there's an automatic Rule 62 stay. And then we could work it out with a lawsuit started, and then we'd file a multi-trillion-dollar lawsuit on them for a quiet title.
Right.
And all of a sudden that sheriff would be looking for another job.
Okay. Amen.
They'd accuse him of screwing this all up, and why couldn't he just do a simple thing like throw a little old lady out of her house?
Hey, watch your mouth.
I'm not watching my mouth because I know I've been down this road a million times. I did it 4 times last week, you know. So it's not like I don't know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing, but in my position is it's called defend. I'm in the that's why I always tell people I'm Carl E. Miller on behalf of the defense. That's what I do. I defend.
Right.
So I got to come up with these ways to make sure people get their day to at least get a hearing on the damn thing.
Right.
Because they're violating people like you every damn day, and it's just damn disgusting. And judges should not be allowing it, but the judges are in on it because they're getting a cut of the take in their retirement funds.
Right. Okay. Well, Angela, thank you for the forum, and thank you.
One thing I did forget to tell you, guys, I sued 3 judges about a week ago. And then they came back and wanted to get relief from judgment because they're a judge and they have judicial immunity. And I laughed at them, and they didn't even bother to have the courtesy to answer the pleading. So they went into default, you understand? So the first thing I did is I defaulted them for failure to answer or plead. And in Michigan, that's Michigan Court Rule 2.111E1, which says failure to answer or otherwise plead is an admission of facts and evidence that what I claimed was true, and therefore I was due a judgment. And that since they didn't answer within the 21 days as required by law, pursuant to Michigan Court Rule 108B, that I could have a right to go to a default under 2.603A, B, C, and D, and that they didn't even make an attempt to cure the default because they're a bunch of arrogant judges that think, you can't touch me, I have immunity. And so then they came back and said, well, we're judges, you can't sue us. I said, I can do any damn thing. I'm highly motivated and highly trained, sir, and you don't have any judicial immunity. Because Owens versus City of Independence and Maine versus Thibodeau back in 1982 said, you're deemed to be an expert on the law, Judge. You're to advise us of the law. You can hardly claim that you acted in good faith for willful deprivation of basic constitutional rights. You certainly can't plead ignorance of the law because you'd look like a fool. Therefore, judicial immunity is denied. You have no immunity, sir. And you had to answer these pleadings just like any other person that served in court. And because you didn't, out of your arrogance, you're in default, Judge, and I'm defaulting your ass, and I'll be seizing and filing liens against everything you own here shortly. And they sat there, and their jaw was on the ground, and they couldn't believe it. And when we got to the federal court, and the federal judge says, he's right.
Wow.
Nothing you can do. So don't tell me I can't sue judges, because I do it all the time.
I'm sure.
Also look up a case called Hafer versus Malo, 502 U.S. 28, which very clearly says, if any officer violates your constitutional rights, you can sue them individually in their own capacity because they clearly cannot hide behind their official capacity to do illegal acts, and it's illegal to violate somebody's constitutional rights. Those cases are all on Angela's wall. Okay?
That's on myprivateaudio.com.
That's it. You get on there and you'll find all of them cases. Owens versus City of Independence, Maine versus Thibodeau, Hafer versus Malo. So don't let these clowns tell you they have immunity. They got zipped. They got no immunity for breaking the law any more than anybody else does. Next thing you know, they'll be able to tell you they robbed the bank because they're a judge. Ridiculous.
Well, the last time I talked to you, Constitution Man, was back in October of 2011. And you quoted the Thibodeau case and the City of Independence case to me then, and I used it in one of my court cases.
They work, and they work. And you know that Owens drives his patrol car now is a Lincoln Continental. It's got right on the side door. This is Owens' patrol car. He's the chief of police in Independence, Missouri.
Wow.
And the lady who was a welfare lady who had 9 kids was coming from Pennsylvania, and she got a job offer to go up to Maine. Well, when she got there and they found out she had 9 kids, the job fell through. So then she had to go back on welfare. Well, then they accused her of hunting for the better state's welfare. So they denied her based on the fact that they accused her of welfare hunting to get the best rate. You know what I'm saying? She sued, got all the way to the Supreme Court. She don't need welfare anymore. She owns a whole bunch of stuff.
Well, that's good. All right, Gigi, boss, is that it for you?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next in line is North Central New York. Go ahead. Did you have a question for Constitution Man?
Yes, Angela, I do. Man, I love the moxie of this guy.
You should see me in court. It's actually more fun in court.
Wish we had video.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I wish I had videos. First question would be to you, Angela. I have been out of the loop a little while. Basically, I haven't had the money for a cell phone and things to do conference calls and nor internet. I happened to find this cell phone laying in the middle of the field, and was able to get a short-term job here to get some money to get it turned on. Chris Summers, do you have an email address for Chris Summers? I've been involved for a long time. I've been hooked up with like Mike Grady way back when you interviewed Mike Grady, and
oh yeah, that's a long time ago.
Yeah, and I've just been out of contact with Chris, so I'd like to get his email address is one thing. But Constitution Man, my situation is. I went to work for a man, and on the W-2, I signed it, all rights reserved, without prejudice, without recourse, inability to perform otherwise, being that the only thing we get, or basically can get in remuneration for our sweat equity would be Federal Reserve notes. I finally had enough of this guy, one of the most anal guys in Syracuse area to work for. So I decided to take him to task and go, well, he didn't, and I thought to put exempt on it. And so there's never any taxes taken out, but the taxes of FICA and Social Security, which I did tell him he shouldn't be taking it out. But not to argue with the guy so I can have a job.
What do you think a W-4 is? You know what a W-4 form is? It's permission to take it out.
But I never put a
W-4 form?
I never put a Social Security number in, except for all zeros.
Did you give him a W-4 form?
A W-4 with all rights reserved and exempt. So exempt, exempt from taxation, exempt from anything.
What they did is they called him up and told him write 0 on it. They do. IRS does stuff like that all the time.
Excuse me, write 0 on what?
The IRS will call some employer up and they'll tell him disregard his W-4 form. I don't care how many kids he's got, and write on there 0 and deduct from his paycheck as if it was 0. And so they take all kind of extra taxes out and send it into the IRS. It's done all the time.
No. He never did any taxes. He just took the Social Security and Medicare out. FICA.
Did he pay it?
He paid that. He took it out from my pay. So therefore,
if you check, he didn't pay it.
No, he did.
Well,
no.
The little secret. If they get caught doing that, it's a. Let's listen. Here, you talk. Okay. I listened. Now you listen. Okay.
All right. Yeah.
If you find out that he did take the money and didn't turn it in to the appropriate authorities, that is one of the worst things you can do, and that will get the IRS on you so bad you cannot believe. I helped the sheriff's deputy. He had 70 employees, and he'd been taking the taxes, and he didn't pay it in. He almost ended up doing 100 years in jail for that. They hate that. So one of the things I would do if I were you is I'd go check and see if he actually turned it in. He may not have.
No, he did.
Just one little guy, and you'll never do nothing about it anyway. And why should I send it in when you're not going to be around here much longer? And you see,
no, he did. Because on the
sure.
W-2, when he sends me a W-2, it was reported on the W-2, even though there's no.
All right. Well,
it's on that.
One of the ways I catch these guys is by lying.
Well, the thing is I sent him several letters of affidavits and bill of ladings and stuff telling him that
How long ago?
This has been basically almost a 5-year since the time I started working. It's been about 2-3 years since I have quit working for him.
How long ago?
How long ago did I work for him, or
I'm trying
or
to find out how old the claim is, whether or not you have a right to proceed further.
Well, see, now
There's
that
a
is
thing
the
called
question.
latches.
I'm not sure whether statute of time is run out.
That's what I'm trying to find out before we waste any more time, whether latches
Right.
is incurred. Latches is a species of action requiring reasonable intelligence and having the right to take an action prescribed by law, and having failed to timely proceed gives up the right to proceed. So I need to know, before we go further, whether or not you've given up the right to proceed. How long has it been since you sent your claims?
Oh, since I sent the claims in, it's been about 2 years of a process.
Well, you got one more year. One more year.
Because
now, have you threatened to sue this guy?
I have, yes, you might say. I've entered it into the court. I've filed it into the court. But
you
the
filed
problem
what
is,
into the court? What
I
did you file?
I filed a petition to the court for basically for a what did I call it?
Writ of replevin.
Basically,
demanding property be paid to you. Called a writ of replevin.
I was looking for. I'm asking the court for a summary judgment, ex parte sort of summary judgment.
Wait. Before we get all kind of fancy here, slow down.
Yeah.
You first have to file at least a preliminary complaint. Did you do that?
Yes.
Okay. Did they answer the complaint in a timely manner within 30 days?
Oh no, I didn't file a. You talk about file the complaint.
Come on, man. We got to get a story that we can sit on.
A complaint in the court, or the complaint to the.
Yeah, complaint to the court.
Yes, I put it in the court.
In the court. All right. What happened? What happened?
Well, I'm not able. I haven't finished what I'm getting to. The thing is, I filed as a poor person, in former paupers, in order not to have to pay the fees. In my affidavit or whatever, my paperwork, I did state I reserved my right that if they needed more information, to please inform me about what it is that they would need in order to, process this.
Can I ask you a question, sir? Do you have a car? Do you own a car?
No, I don't.
You own a house?
No, I don't.
Okay. Do you have any bank accounts?
No, I don't.
Okay. It's been my experience that when people file informal pauperis, they're trying to get over on a court, and almost always the court never wants to help you. Unless you're a prisoner in solitary confinement someplace and you have no visible means of support, no money coming in, no car, no house, no property. Other than that, they let you go hang. Basically, is what my experience has been over 50 years. If you file informal pauperis, they're not going to help you at all.
When they sent back denying me that right or that petition, I sent them another. I actually put a motion in for appeals, but it was it shouldn't have been appeals. It should have been objection. And in my motion of objection, I wanted them to clarify, because apparently the document that I used to fill out, I filled out completely to the answers that they are looking for. Therefore, if I'm not to be found that way, then apparently the document is insufficient then. So I wanted to...
I see this a whole lot. And then you told them you wanted to appeal it, right?
Well, I sent a registered letter afterwards, because I said, I made a mistake, because I went to the court to ask, when am I going to hear back from the court? She says, well, you have to appeal it to
your case for lack of progress, right?
You have to appeal it to an appeals court. Well, I said, well, I'm only asking for clarification of why he made his determination, because the information I gave him. Huh?
They're calling it an appeal.
Well, I sent
a letter then. And you didn't answer them back, and then when you didn't answer them back, they just put it on the back burner, and then after time rolled by...
No, they never sent nothing. When I submitted it into the court, my motion for an appeals, but basically it was appeal for clarification. It wasn't an appeal of his determination. It was more for clarification. And I went to the court.
I'm going to share a very important thing to you, very important, and this is real important. You're talking in English 1, and they're talking in English 5. And you're really not on the same wavelength, even though you think that you are. And you think that when you talked to them and told them what you wanted, they were going to do what you wanted. And they thought, in their way, this is how we're going to get rid of this case. We're just going to delay this out, screw this guy around, spin him around, confuse the hell out of him, and then we just won't do nothing. And then the time will go on the thing. And then what will happen is we'll just dismiss it for lack of progress. Now, you know how many times I see this in a year? And it's mainly inexperience, and it's mainly that you're trying too hard, and you don't have proper counsel to help you proceed. You thought
Obviously,
it was just a
that's
clarification.
That's why I'm calling.
They were thinking it was an appeal. Do you see that?
Okay, but
and then you didn't follow up on the
wait a minute.
appeal, and then they just shit-canned it.
No, well, they told me I had to put the appeals to appeals court, and I sent a registered letter to the judge and explained to them that legalese, their statute codes and regulations of their rules that I have to follow are for them, and I don't have to jump through those hoops. I said I made a mistake, and I said I made a mistake, and therefore I'm correcting it and say this is an objection. It's not an appeal. It's an objection to your ruling. I would like you to give me further clarity of why you made your determination. That's all I'm asking.
You know, you have a right to that. You do have a right to that. You can ask for a written opinion. You actually
but they haven't replied.
But it has to be timely. Timely means how soon after the court ruled did you actually get your papers in saying you wanted a clarification?
Well, first I filed into the docket the appeals, motion of the appeals.
How much time?
Well, it's been within. I have 120 days on the number, the docket number. I have 100, and it was within the 120 days.
Okay, all right. Well, that's important. You can understand why I would ask that question because these courts are forever. These clerks go to school to learn how to screw with pro se litigants.
Okay, so my question, the reason I'm calling, I had to give you the history. My question is, what step do I take now? Since he's not replied to my letter.
Well, how long ago was the 120 days now?
Well, I think we might be almost past that or up to it now.
Again, another 120 days?
No, 120 days from the initial filing. When they sent back the notice saying that they denied me my application, they still docketed it and got me a docket number and said I have 120 days to pay $300 to do that.
Pay the damage, to pay the judgment.
To file for the filing fee, retaining the judge, and then for the clerk's fees.
Did you file it?
Did I pay the money? No, I don't have the money.
All right,
that's why I put in. That's why I put in 4 person. Are we past the 120 days? Are we past now the 120 days? I'm not sure. I'm not. I actually didn't count the time out from the point that I got the notice to exactly when the 120 days is.
There are attorneys that hate
I did this in October. I think it was started in October.
Appeals. There are attorneys that hate filing appeals. You know why? Because of this kind of treatment and being bullshitted around and jacked with, and they play these rules. And an appellate attorney is a very special dude. For one, he has patience up the wazoo. For two, he meticulously plots everything carefully and keeps meticulous records and makes sure times and dates and all this stuff. And that's what it takes to be an appeal attorney. And most attorneys are too lazy to want to be that meticulous. You understand? So what happens is regular attorneys get burned out on doing appeals because they don't want to be jacked around like this all the time. And they don't want to have to be responsible and keep such meticulous records. And they don't want to have to hope that they don't screw this thing up. They miss a date getting it in just right. And so what they do is they only take, ambulance cases and stuff that's going to get them paid over the phone right away with the insurance company because they're lazy. You see? Now, you take a pro se litigant that's not even schooled in law and doesn't even understand what's going on, and you just quadruple the hazards of the case because they're going to tell him one thing and you're going to tell them another thing. And what we have here is a failure to communicate. You're not communicating to them, and they're definitely not communicating with you, and they enjoy the hell out of that because it makes you get crazy and go away. And so that's what they want. They just want to take your $300 and then drive you nuts and hope that you'll just go away, okay?
Well, that's why I haven't given $300.
Well, if you don't stay on top of the case, your chances of getting any kind of a serious result is not good. I'm just telling you that as a friend because I can tell you've been through the mill with these guys, and I can also tell they're deliberately waltzing you around the deck, and I can also tell that the court rules are deliberately made at the appellate level a whole bunch more severe just to put you in the spine that you're in right now. And, you know, I have issue with the whole appellate system all the way to the Supreme Court for that.
Well,
I mean, in the Supreme Court, you have to have a certain color paper. You have to have a certain color ink. It has to be published in a book form. It has to be, you know, you're going to spend $1,000 just to get your briefs in.
The thing is, I'm not appealing it. All I was asking was for clarification of his order.
What did they do with the order? They called it an appeal, right?
Yeah, but then, like I said, then I sent a letter addressed to the judge, a certified letter addressed to him, you know,
he didn't get
specifically.
He didn't get it. The clerk got it. He doesn't get none of that stuff. They isolate the judge. He doesn't get nothing personal mail, period. You know why that is? Because people write him letters and threaten him. People put white baking soda powder and all kind of stupid stuff in packages. They go get a rat trap and they kill a rat and paint it red, white, and blue, and they mail it to the judge. The judge doesn't get any mail.
Then that I can write up a dishonor notice and enter that a dishonor notice and enter that into the docket that I have.
You're talking UCC. You know that these judges don't understand UCC worth of shit.
Well, I did on the letter. I did ask him for his undertaking, and I would assume because I didn't, and I told him to have a certain time to respond back. I gave him some time to respond. I would like to have a letter back.
Did he respond?
No. Therefore, he's at fault. And I asked him for a true and correct certified copy of his undertaking. So now I can assume he does not have an undertaking in order to and file that within the docket and say now you're instructing me.
You're arguing UCC law in commerce and admiralty. Do you know how much these guys study about admiralty law?
I have no idea.
Most of these guys don't follow UCC at all. And when you go in there and you quote all this stuff, I'm going to tell you right now, you lost that guy at the first turn. Even just telling him you're going to dishonor him, you understand? He's used
I haven't done that yet, but I'm saying
that
this is what I thought I should do.
All right. Well, I won't disagree with you. You should do something that says you're objective. At least say that, okay? And that you actually want a written opinion in regards to this matter, so you can see his thought process and how he came to his judgment.
Okay, now
at some point in time, you need to get an appeal in for sure, and you need to pay for it because they're not going to honor your informal paris. They're not going to do it. I've never seen them do it yet, unless the guy was a prisoner in jail in solitary confinement or something like that, where he had no way of coming up with money. He had no livelihood. He had nothing. He's living off the damn prison fees, you know.
My question is, since I did send him a letter, a certified letter, should I now enter this through the clerk, to the clerk?
Well, you're breaking up real bad.
All right. I said, since I did send him a letter, I can send him a copy of the letter and the certified notice, and enter that through the docket number, and enter that within the clerks, the court of clerks process. Then, not to give him that notice. So they enter it through that docket number I have now, through some sort of writ of some sort. Hello? What happened?
I don't know. Where'd he go? Are you still there, Constitution Man?
Oh, I thought maybe I died off.
Oh, let's see. Hold on a second. Let me scroll down.
We lost him. Meantime, you should give me. Oh, jeez. His cell phone. My cell phone's plugged into the battery right now, just to make sure I don't die out. Chris Summers' email address.
I'm not going to give it to you over here. If you email me, I'll send it to you in an email.
Okay,
he would probably kill me if I put it out over this.
Well, I knew it used to be Law Learners.
It still is.
Well, I just sent him an email, but it was Law. Is it Law Learners? Is it No, I think I was doing Learn Law.
Let
Okay.
me check. Hold on one second. See here. It's Learn Law.
Learn Law. Well, I sent it out, and it comes back that it's rejected at net. Something.net. Net.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what to tell you. That's what I have.
Okay. Well, I'll try again, or else I will try to give you an.
If you send me an email, I've got his. He's on my Skype.
Right.
I can send him a message through Skype.
Okay.
I tried that earlier, and he's not answering.
I'm actually the guy that hooked him up with Swift Arrow, and even Mike Grady too.
Okay.
Like that,
I don't know who that is, but.
Swift Arrow.
Anyway.
The United Nations of Turtle Island.
Okay.
All right. Well, I guess since Constitution Man is gone, I guess I'll get off then.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I don't know what happened. I guess maybe his. It's he's gone. So I'm. Oh wait, I think he just got back. Did you get back on? Is that you, Constitution Man?
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to swear. I can't help that guy. I'm going to admit, I just cannot help that guy. He has serious communication problems. I can't help. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. How did we lose you there? Are you?
I don't know. They're playing with my phones all the time now. They know that I'm doing heavy duty good work, and you can just imagine if I was to be on a talk show every night. I mean, I would just slay them. You understand? If I was started to do seminars, I could do 2-day seminars. And I'm telling you, when the people left, I had one lawyer from Villanova University come up to me after my Atlanta seminar, and he says, I learned more from you in the last 2 days than I did my entire 4 years at law school at Villanova. So, I mean, I know I can be effective. I know I can help a lot of people. But do you understand about tangential communications? It's where people talk parallel next to each other, just a hair off of phase. And when you do that in music, you end up with a very major ear problem, because when you listen, you're into a minor key, you've disrupted, you're breaking glasses on the table of the restaurant, you're not, I'm speaking English, I might as well be speaking German or Chinese or something, or Vietnamese. You see, we're never going to communicate. It's never going to happen. One, he won't listen. 2, he will talk over you the entire time. 3, when you do give suggestions, you've got to overcome him. 4, he's talking on one line of language and you're talking on another line of language. It's an impossibility. It can't be done. First of all, he sat on it too long. Second of all, he exhausted his administrative remedies when he didn't immediately respond and take care of it. You can't let all kind of time run, because these guys are going to use it to kick you out. They'll just say, hey, latches incurred, buddy. Sorry. Maybe next time. Better luck next time. Meanwhile, they keep your $300 and they leave you sitting there crying in your beer about how the courts just don't work. Well, they don't work when you sit on your hands. It doesn't happen. And they don't work when you don't talk English, you see. And he's into all of this UCC stuff. These judges don't know this stuff. They don't. You know, I can tell just by listening to him, he's into all of this. Well, I'll hold him in dishonor, you see. This is all this UCC crap that's been handed out. I know the very best guy in the world on UCC. His name is Ralph Daigle. And he'll tell you that when you argue existential like that, they're not going to listen. You might as well be speaking Chinese, you see.
You want to take a few more questions?
Let's do it. Stand up, hook up. I'm striking like lightning and sounding like thunder. When these people get a hair at my tail, boy, they need to understand. You done messed up, Jack. The last 50 years are absolutely unbelievable. You ain't going to believe the next 50.
Okay, Panhandle, Texas, did you have a question? You've been unmuted.
Oh, thank you, Angela. I appreciate it. I'll try to be real quick with it. I have a question for Constitutional Man. I was wondering about, just real quick, I was let go from my job about an hour ago, and, we work 12 hours a day, 4 days on, 3 days off, and I work for a pipe maker, pipe producer. And basically, I'm just going to give it to you. I've never been late. I've never missed a single day. And I've never really even had a complaint other than the machine that I've worked on. And real quick, I finished my shift.
How long have you been employed there?
A good 3.5 weeks. 3 weeks.
Okay, well, you understand that people try out and they give you 90 days probation just to test you to see how you're going to do.
Yeah, I heard that, but I mean, at the same time, I was wondering because, you know, there was no.
You never got called in the office. You never got any kind of reprimands or anything. Okay.
Never. Other than, you know, we have a particular machine and there's like 5 or 6 parts on it. I'm so new that necessarily I wouldn't know, you know, all the different sections of it. I've had a couple of good supervisors come up and talk to me and kind of show me around. But, of course, you know, and I wasn't even on it the whole 3 weeks. I was on another machine that I worked just fine and had never had a complaint. As a matter of fact, I had compliments. And then the last week and a half, I've been on this machine. But to make it real short, I really wanted to find out, you know, we work 12 hours a day.
Did they even give you a hearing? Did they even give you a little exit interview?
No, nothing.
Tell you what the problem was, or if there was a problem, or
no? He said, well, basically, he said that the boss that came to me just then, and there's like several of them. He said, well, I understand that you have an attitude problem or something, and I was like,
whoa, you understand? Somebody made a complaint?
Yeah, that's what I asked him. I said, well, is there a complaint or anything? And he says, well, no, he didn't really want to give me any name or anything. And
that's standard.
I'm sorry. Yeah, right.
That is standard.
Okay, that's right. So at some point, I've just figured I would have to be noticed of a problem. I mean, this guy just walked up.
Yeah, you would have to be some reprimand or somebody pull you aside and say, look, man, you're doing this all wrong. You got to straighten up or I'm going to have to let you go. You know, at least some warning, okay?
Absolutely, or put me in another spot or something like that. I don't really, but the point is that, you know, we just...
Is this a union shop? A union shop?
No, I don't think it's no union at all. Absolutely not. And to be honest, I mean, we work 12 hours.
How many employees would you say they have, roughly?
They've got 4 shifts.
4 shifts. Oh, boy.
4 shifts, meaning they rotate. We do 4 days on, 3 days off. Okay, so then you'll have another.
So they got quite a bit of work there, then, what you're saying.
Yes, absolutely. And
did it look like they were getting slowed down at all, or business was kind of slowing down?
Well, they're a pretty big pipe producer, if you want my opinion. They're a pretty big pipe producer, and basically they have a lot of, you know, product going out the door.
So it didn't look like business was slowing down or nothing?
Nothing at all, nothing like that. And
nothing that seemed noticeable to you?
I'm sorry?
Nothing that seemed noticeable. You know, like sometimes when the business slows down, they get rid of some people because they got to let some of the shift go because they don't have the work to support them.
I can tell you now that wasn't the case. Basically, you know, and I ain't been there longer than, I don't know how long John was in the Army, but I was there 3.5 weeks. Well, I just completed my 3rd week, so I was looking for overtime this weekend and so forth, which I've been getting every week. So my point.
Okay. They haven't been really dissatisfied with you. They've allowed you to work overtime.
No,
right?
not at all, because no one's come and said.
Have you gotten any notice of whether any of the work you did was screwed up and had to be redone?
You know, like I was going to explain about the machine. Basically, it's a long machine. It's a big pipe maker machine. It's got so many sensors and buttons and so forth on there. I ain't been on the machine a week and a half, and you know, I've had...
Well, somebody has made a determination that you weren't going to work out, probably, due to the technical whatever have you. I don't know.
I can't believe it. I mean, I've come through the snow. I mean, it's absolutely ice on the ground right now. And, you know, I never was late.
Texas
I've got
ice on the ground, huh?
That's right. I'm serious. And you know what? There's 2 guys today, even, that left early, okay, on the shift. I don't know how long necessarily how long they've been there. I know one of them's been there less than 2 months. Everybody pretty much in the building is not. I think they got some kind of thing going with the little temp agency, and they'll send them out there and
let me ask you a question.
80 of 90 days and then get rid of them.
Do you belong to any weird church or any church that has unique
None of that.
Okay.
Absolutely none of that.
Prejudicial thing. Okay.
And I don't have any. And that's another thing too. I wanted to see. Listen, you know, in the shop, there's an awful large number of Hispanics, okay? There's a bunch. And, I mean, like the majority.
Do you speak Spanish?
No, I do not. And they had my first 2 days on this particular machine that I was just let go from an hour and a half ago. Basically, these guys, they don't even speak very good English. So to make a long story short, I've been, when you ask me, has anyone ever came and, either complained or made a statement to me about
I'm trying to get your story and figure out reasoning and why, percentage-wise, what do I think they could have possibly, whether this was just a technical thing that they just didn't need an extra body because they didn't have to work.
An attitude problem.
Yeah,
that's what he said. That's what he did finally say. He said he had an attitude problem. So obviously somebody made a complaint.
I've never heard any of that prior to this. The boss came up to me and he didn't have no particular instance of, no example of nothing. I mean, I can't even remember having a situation with anybody.
And you pull your full hours, right?
Yes, absolutely. Ain't been late. Okay, never left.
Well, it sounds like to me somehow you were discriminated against, and probably somebody did make a complaint.
Listen, I'm going to tell you. Basically, it was about maybe, a good week ago that when I first got on that machine, they saw me working. As a matter of fact, since I've come through the door, everyone's been telling me, Eric, you're a hard worker, this, that, and the other, man, And when they call, listen, I'm the new guy, so it means I'm doing every job in the plant. They put me on a machine, but 5 minutes later, somebody's going to call me. I got to run across the plant. And I think, honestly, because I see other guys dragging their butt, I think that since I come through the door and I came with a little spunk, that it was like, oh, God, this guy's got a strong back. Come on, lift this pipe. Come on, let's go over here and do this. Let's go outside and do this. And then I still somehow am responsible for this machine that I'm not even looking at. And,
somebody took offense is what happened. Somebody said you had a bad attitude, and they made
absolutely just totally false claim is what I'm saying. I'm hot enough to get on Angela's show and ask someone, a professional or someone, who's got the know better, to say, well, listen, is there any recourse to this? Look, I've been working 3 weeks.
Yeah, there is. Here's what you do. You immediately go down and file for unemployment. Okay?
Wow.
Now, there may be a ulterior story that comes up to unemployment. You understand? Where they put down more crap. And I actually had this happen last week. And they said this woman was stealing stuff.
Oh, Lord.
And this woman goes to church. She's practically the Madonna in her local church. She helps everybody. Everybody loves her. But what happened was she had a fall at the job on the ice, and she hurt her back, okay? And then she started going to the doctor. Well, then the company started worrying about her having back medical problems. So they figured a way, and they put in her baggage to go $18 plant. That's all it was for Christmas, an $18 plant. And then they said she stole it and took it out the store without paying for it. She didn't even know nothing about it, see? But that was the excuse they used to get rid of her, that she stole. She wouldn't steal nothing. This woman, like I say, she's like a Madonna. Everybody loves her. She's got friends everywhere. And so I got a hold of the guy, and I says, let me tell you something, pal. You have slandered, libeled, and defamed a very decent, kind woman. I said, and you made her look like a thief, and you put it down to unemployment, and now she's going to have a hell of a time overcoming that. And I says, first of all, you people did a damn fool thing, but you don't know who her family is. Her family is the one that put the cement in all those homes out there at the end of 21 Mile and Gratiot by Selfridge Airfield. You understand? Cement, Italiano, capisce? Capo dei tutti capo. Her uncle is the chief judge of the local county circuit court. Got it?
Wow.
Her other uncle is Tony Zarelli that used to own the Spaghetti Palace. Got it?
So did
her other uncle is Big Mike Cusimano of Cusimano Tuxedos. Got it? Her other uncle and family cousin is the ones that own Viviano's flower shop. Whenever the mafia has a funeral, they get the contract to bring all the flowers. Got it? I said, you people screwed up bad. People regard this woman as a saint, and they love her dearly, especially in her her church, okay? And you trashed her name, and you don't understand when the rest of the family figures out what you did. She's got brothers that are 6'8", 350-pounders. That
are you telling them to threaten?
I didn't threaten them. I was telling them that they messed up bad because when the rest of the family finds out about this, they're in deep doo-doo, and that's not even counting the lawsuits that I'm about to do against you for $300 billion. He said, $300 billion? I says, yeah. You people did a great evil, and you did this at Christmas time, and she's in tears, and she's got 3 little babies to take care of, you understand?
So then you're hoping that when he goes to file for unemployment, they're going to come back with some kind of
right?
Yeah,
that's right.
And then
they're not going to trash her name.
Okay, but
and then the guy said, "Well, maybe we need to check into this more thoroughly." I said, "Yeah, maybe you do. I recommend you check into it real thorough, and then you fix your mistake and apologize to her profusely, and hope to God you can settle out of court. Because if I get you down to federal court, I'm going to go for everything you got, pal."
I think you just want your job back, right? Or what?
She wants her name cleared. She wants all the crap they put on her name about stealing.
Yeah, we're not talking about her, though. We're talking about this gentleman, right?
Well, all right, but I'm just trying to share with you. Companies do stuff all the time is what I'm trying to share.
Oh, yeah, we know that.
You know, I talked to an attorney.
That's what I was going to ask you. Did you fall down on the job and hurt yourself?
Not at all. No, I mean, I'm serious. I moved from 8 a.m. till 8 p.m. Every single day.
You did a good job.
Listen, every single day that I come to this job, I don't see anyone.
I don't see how they could have fired you, truthfully, other than the fact that they had not enough work for you and they had to cut their staff. That's the only way I could see them cutting. And you were the low man. You were the low man on the seniority pool. Okay, that's the only logical reason I can give. Okay.
Right, and if there was something wrong with my performance, as he attempted to pose to me at the time, but I began to ask questions. You know, I'm budding into of attorney. I started asking questions, and I was like, well, did someone make a claim against me or something? And he's like, well, I can't tell you all that. You know, we don't have.
Can I ask you an honest question? How good did you get along personally with this guy? Did he appear to like you?
Listen, at some point, apparently, the guy who fired me always came to me as a friend side. Always. But the immediate, he has, he's the...
What, did he come to you and say, I'm sorry, we're going to have to let you go? Or,
totally
hey, dude, you're fired? What happened?
Absolutely. Yeah. Angela, basically, he handed me my time card, which is like a temporary thing. They fill it out at the end of the week. And even last week, this didn't happen because they would always ask, hey, you want to do some overtime? And I've said yes every time.
All right, let me ask you real quick here. When he came up to you, did he say, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to let you go?
Not at all.
Or did he say you're fired?
No, he didn't say I was fired. He said we don't need you anymore, is what he said. And I said, well, I was like...
that's possible. He might not have needed you. I don't know.
I'm telling you now that basically it left a bad taste in my mouth. I just thought
you're pissed off. I can understand that. You needed a job, and they fired you.
You didn't have enough seniority. I don't know all the.
He didn't have any seniority until he gets his 90 days in. Until you get your 90 days in, you're a temporary.
Okay, absolutely. I can understand that. But see, here's the thing. I mean, shouldn't there be... Well, never mind about what there should be. What I'm saying to you is that I just worked for these people for the better parts of a month for 12 hours a day. You know, we don't have a break there. There's no scheduled break. You don't get...
All right, let me ask... Well, there's part of your problem right there. These people are not following the codes because the codes require to have a break every so many hours.
I don't need to know about that
just
one.
For safety.
I just talked to an attorney about a week ago because I was inquiring about it.
Hey. Is this a small little town?
Yes, it's a pretty small town.
Come on, man.
They got
you and I know there's no secrets anywhere. That attorney must have contacted them somehow.
No. It was an attorney here. Actually, the attorney was in California. I'm in Texas.
Oh, all right. Okay.
And as a matter of fact, it really wasn't directly about this company. It was a question that had to do with labor. You know, I've noticed after about a good week and a half there, I was like, dang, man, we're working 12 hours a day. And I mean, when I come at 8 o'clock in the morning, it's like, Eric. And I mean, and they're not just asking me, hey, come over here, take this.
Somebody has made some type of communication between you, legal, and the idea that you're asking questions in a certain way that could threaten that company. I don't know. That's what it probably is, that somebody was talking to somebody and they opened their mouth or they overheard a conversation they shouldn't have overheard, and then they
or they just didn't need you anymore.
No,
yeah, it could be that simple.
That would be
Angela's right. It could be that simple.
Okay, let me complete a thought here.
I'd be pissed off too.
I was going to say that, Angela, that may be, that's what it would be plausible if I didn't already know better. I mean, it's like they send people to them, from the temporary agencies every week. This place is booming. And that's not the case.
All right, after work, do they go drink at the bar?
I don't know. I don't drink. I don't.
Okay. All right. That's what I wanted to hear. I wanted to hear that you aren't going to the bar with them and have a drink. Okay.
Man, I'm gonna tell you something. I'm about work. I come home and go to bed. I'm right now. I just got out of the shower and I'm sitting on the side of my bed listening to this show. Okay?
Oh, maybe they thought you were stuck up because you wouldn't have a drink with them. I don't know. You said it was a small town, so they're unique to the small town. There are some small towns you never get close to those people because you didn't grow up there.
I understand.
They just hold that against you,
Well,
this could be, we are speculating here.
It's not
speculating is all we're doing.
Okay. Well, I was just saying to you, and I really want to make sure. I was just trying to say that that's not the case. I really don't feel that that's the case. I mean, I've never befriended anyone over there.
Well, did they ever look down upon you because you didn't go drinking with them?
I don't know any of these people, whether they drink or not. I mean, no one's
Well, believe it or not, some plants, they have a
I
standard where you go drinking with them after the bar, you ain't a bud, you see. And if you don't go and be party with them and be close to them, they don't regard you as in their family. And if they don't regard you as in their family, they can't trust you. I mean, there's all this. That's the problem in small towns. They're very quick.
Go file like Carl said, go to unemployment and get on there.
Right.
See what they have to say.
See what they put down.
Before we conjure up.
I wasn't. What they're going to say. Well, I'm just.
I don't know what they're going to say. Neither do you.
Well,
and it's already 2:30.
Hold on now. Let me complete my thought now.
So fine. Okay.
I was going to say that basically I am employed through a temporary agency, so maybe they may say that, well, the company.
Did it ever occur to you that they got a job coming up, a big job, and they wanted you for that job, but you were stuck on this other job, and they couldn't get you loose of that job and give you the other job because they have problems with a list? Believe it or not, that goes on at General Motors.
No, that's a long shot right there.
A long shot to you.
Any of the implications that has to do with this company, I've entertained them, but they're long shots. What I'm saying to you is that I'm the only black guy who walks in.
Oh, hey.
Yes.
Is everybody else in the plant white?
They're all Hispanic. I already told you.
Oh, all right. You did tell me that. Yes, you did. Okay, well, then you shouldn't have a problem with race. That's not a problem.
What?
They'll hire a Hispanic. They should hire a black. That's not a problem.
What?
All right. Did they say anything to you at all why they let you go?
That's what I'm saying. Basically, someone has made a mysterious claim, and they won't.
How do you suppose we're going to find out what that claim is unless you go to unemployment and they actually are forced to put it down in writing?
I'm not sure about that. I will investigate that. I appreciate that.
All right. Do these guys seem like they're cheap?
Hello?
Yeah.
Do these guys seem like they are cheap? In other words, they got the first penny they ever made in a shrine under their bed.
To me, that apparently, and this is I would have never brought this out. You just brought this out of me. It seemed to me that, I was working hard. I showed up to work every day.
You've already made that clear.
Right, and the guys would come to me and, the ones who would come by the line and so forth.
Has anybody ever come up to you and said you're making us look bad by being such a tiger and a go-getter?
No, not at all. But at the same time, it seems like to me tonight that I've been punished or I'm being punished for something that I could not have had any control over. That's what I'm saying. What do I need to do?
You're probably right. You're probably right.
I'm sorry?
I said you're probably right. It's something that created a problem in the plant. Some friction. Like maybe you were working too hard and you were making them Mexican or Hispanics look, like sloppy, lazy, what have you, and they were taking offense and making complaints to the boss. Get rid of that guy. And then that guy says, well, I've had these guys working for me all these years. I'm not going to let them go. So they let you go because you were the newest guy at the block.
Okay, if that's the case, two guys left work early today. One guy claimed his tummy hurt, and the other guy said he hurt his finger. Okay, well, these guys have already, and it was told to me by these two, because one worked on line one, I work on line two. So we're fairly close. But my line is so long that even if we're not really close, I have to go way down on the end there, read all the meters and blah, blah, blah. Okay, so to make a long story short, this guy's already told me he hurt his shoulder on his first week. They let him, he went to the doctor and they excused that. Now he's come back and his stomach's hurt.
Did it ever occur to you that you were hanging buds with this guy and they didn't like that guy and maybe they wanted to get rid of you before you turned into that guy for 90 days?
Speculation. You know what?
You're right. But he's trying to figure it out, and we're engaging him in a way to figure it out. But I tell you, your best way to find out for sure is to file your unemployment. They'll have it on the paperwork.
That was the answer.
One thing, but I was thinking more on the legal sense. I'm sorry.
No, that's your answer right there. That's the best answer right now. That's the only one you're going to actually find out for sure, because then they'll put it in
writing. I really haven't asked the question yet. I really have not asked the question yet. I mean, honestly.
Have you been listening to what we've been trying to do for the last 20 minutes?
I've been writing it down.
Okay, so what's the question real quick?
Right. Give me your written down question.
No, I didn't write any question down. I only wrote the comments about unemployment and what, may possibly come up, what kind of claim they may have to make at.
Do you want to know for sure what's going on?
What's your question?
My question.
File unemployment.
No, it wasn't about unemployment at all. My question was specifically, is there any recourse that I may take in order to, the man says that,
No. We're not going off on a tangent now.
We're not going to do this anymore. This dum-da-dum-da-dum-da-dum. I don't want to do this.
To begin with is to go file for unemployment and see what their answer is. You may also take into consideration talking to someone in a legal setting, a paralegal perhaps, that deals with labor disputes and that sort of thing, and go from there.
Let me ask you, did you get hurt on this job? Did you get hurt on this job at all?
I'm sorry?
Did you get hurt on this job?
No, it's no injury, no claim, none of that type of stuff, nothing at all. I just was going home. I was going to stay home. I just cleaned up the
Our recommendation is that you go to unemployment, fill out the papers. They'll have a right to answer the papers. If they want to bitch and they're cheap and they don't want to pay your unemployment, they're going to put down all kind of crap on your name. Then you're going to be able to see what their actual bitches are, and then we can take legal action from there. Okay?
Yeah, they have to prove whatever they say.
Okay, that'll be fine. What about the unemployment? Because, you were saying that basically I'm hired through a temporary agency, so, is it possible?
You're what is called at will. You are what is called at will. They can fire you at will.
Oh, yeah.
That's what it means. When you go to those temporary agencies, all of them are at will, which means if I want to fire you, I don't even need an excuse. I just say, I want that one gone. Go get me another one.
And it sounds like if you're working for a temporary agency, they're going to have another job for you lined up anytime.
Right away, yeah. Plus, they know you're a worker, man. You go to work, so you're not going to be an embarrassment to them. So the next good job that comes up, you're bound to get it.
Right, but see, that's the thing about it. I'm not doing anything just for a possibility. I can go and get another job. I got a couple trades. What I'm saying is that's playing with me, basically. I mean,
Sir?
Yeah. You want to know if
let me just have a moment here. A moment, please. Just listen. You chose voluntarily of your own free will to go work for one of these temp job places. If you look at the application on that temp job place, it says right on the very top that this is an at-will employment situation, which means they can fire you at will and they don't even have to have a reason. And that's part of them using the temp program, so they can do that.
Okay.
Now, if you choose to keep working for a temporary place, then you open the door for yourself to be abused like this in future. So I would recommend, if you're going to do that, understand that you serve at will. That's why they call it up here in Michigan a job shop. And they don't have to have any reason to fire you.
Well, unless there's downright discrimination of some sort.
That's what I'm...
Well, you'd have to prove that, though. You'd have to show that.
Okay, I'm sorry. It's after 2:30. I mean, we've gone 2 hours and 30 minutes, and
okay,
I still have
right.
several
She's
people
got a
on
little boy she's got to take care of. So,
I don't have a little boy. He's a big boy,
all
but
right.
we still have a couple of people on the line. I don't want to be here all night go over and over
all
the
right,
same thing.
Yeah. This is what I was trying to tell you before. The same thing. You understand?
All right. Traveler 1, did you have a question?
Oh, yeah.
I know you've been waiting a long time. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, right. I got this situation with a couple of deputies. I got them on audio tape of them discussing my plate and vehicle and VIN number at 6:30, and then I got stopped and arrested at 7:15. So I was wondering, what is the angle I got to go after these guys for doing this?
Well, first of all, the plate is illegal. The plate is an encumbrance. You have a right to freely travel. You weren't driving, you were traveling. Pursuant to Shapiro versus Thompson, 394 U.S. 618, you have a right to travel the length, width, and breadth of your society without encumbrance. That's why they call it a free society. They infringed on your right to travel. The state cannot require you to have a license or pay a fee.
Shapiro
You were
versus
impinged. You are impinged, which means to stealthily steal your right. Okay?
Shapiro versus who?
Shapiro versus Thompson, 394 U.S. 618.
No one can write that fast.
394 U.S. 618. Says the basic right to travel is such a basic right, it doesn't even need to be mentioned, that it's self-evident in a free society. The right to travel the length, width, and breadth of that society is a basic concomitant of what makes it a free society. Now, I'm exercising my right to travel. You're saying I'm driving. I wasn't driving. I was traveling. I'm not on any commercial venture for profit or hire on the road. I'm just traveling in my own conveyance down the road, minding my own damn business. They cannot require you to have a license or pay a fee for the exercise of a constitutional right. That's Murdoch versus Pennsylvania, 319 U.S. 105. And Shuttlesworth versus Birmingham, Alabama, 373 U.S. 262, says, I can ignore the license and engage in a right with impunity. Now, I understand they are told that they can violate you. Are you there?
Yes.
Go on her website wall. You're looking for Tom's driver's license. Got the whole argument in there. You just shut them down on all their claims and say they violated your rights. You were traveling. And they impinged on that right. Well, that's one way. The other is to go see the sheriff and say, is there some way we can work this out? And then just show them your Tom's driver's license with your name on it and put your picture in the upper right-hand corner and say, I had a right to travel and here's my traveling permit. And it's going to explain this whole legal argument. And it's all on Angela's wall there on her website. It's called
Tom's License. What is it? Tom's license? Where's that?
Travel. It's on your wall. I know I gave it to you.
That Maine versus Thibodeau, Memphis Bank, Cohen's versus Virginia, Berger versus U.S. Road.
Yep. All that stuff is
Score, Broadside,
Tom's license. Tom's license. Tom's constitutional license.
There's constitutional law by CM. Taxation.
How about the aspect of the viciousness of this whole thing that they did?
If you don't have it, we'll get it to you, but I'm pretty sure you do. I gave you all that stuff.
Yeah, but I didn't list everything on the page. You know, some of the stuff is big, and you can't just put everything on there because it uses up all the bandwidth.
Yeah, you used up all of them.
And the megabytes of space.
Yep.
But I will look for Tom's license.
I know it's in your stuff because I know I sent it to you dozens of times.
Okay, but the
you have a
gentleman
right
was
to travel,
asking,
sir. The case is Shapiro versus Thompson, 394 U.S. 618. Now, that you recorded those officers, were they specifically talking about going after you?
Yeah, I got the audio of them from their cruisers. Now, under Discovery, I asked for the communication between 6 o'clock and 8 o'clock. So it's
You got it. Were you in the cruiser when this was done?
No.
Oh, you went and got the Discovery on it.
Yeah.
I see. Okay. And what did they say? They were going to go get you?
Well, they didn't say that, but they were checking out the VIN number. I had a automobile advertisement plate on the back.
So they investigated. Okay,
Yeah,
and
they
they called up,
investigated.
and then they found out your license was bogus, they said?
Oh, yeah.
And then they pulled you over. Well, they're wrong, because they can't require you to have a license, you see.
Right. I understand that. But what about the fact that they investigated this? It was a setup.
Well, they didn't investigate very well, did they? Or they'd have known that you had a right to travel, huh?
Right. I agree. Maybe I should.
I hate to say it, but these guys are out there, and they're trafficking in money, and you look like a good one they could pick on, and evidently they did pick on you, so now you're going to have to litigate and or argue your case through court, win the case, and then file for your damages.
Okay.
And we have ways of teaching you how to do that. We have briefs that you can copy. We have all kinds of stuff. We sent to Angela on her wall. If she didn't get it, leave a phone number with her. She'll get it to me, and I'll figure a way to get it to you.
Yeah, I just put the links up to the two pages that have your stuff posted on them. So
there's a couple of guys in there. One guy is one in 16 states, the right to travel. He's so good. He took my briefs and really ran with them. He's the guy that did the case down in Atlanta, Georgia, where the Atlanta and the Georgia legislature has agreed to shut down the requirement to have a driver's license in the state of Atlanta. Because this law.
About that for a while.
Well, I'm the guy who did it. That was me.
All right.
So the information you're going to be getting is on that type of level. This guy won in 16 states already. He won in Texas. He won in Georgia, Florida, Alabama, Kentucky, Illinois, Ohio, New York, Pennsylvania, Iowa, and I think Arizona was the last one he won. And he's won in Michigan, of course. He's won several in Michigan. And he has a program that he puts out and talks that stuff. It's called a television program and a radio program that's called Forbidden Knowledge. Go on the Google and look up Forbidden Knowledge. His name is Craig. He's a walking, talking genius. He was one of my best students. He learned so fast.
Right. Hey, thanks a lot.
All right, God love you. Just make sure we get some contact way, and I'll make sure you get the briefs, and then you can sit there and look and read it to your heart's content. When you realize you got them by the short hairs, all you got to do is file that brief in court. They'll dismiss the case, and you go file for your damages.
Okay, Patriot 1. Go ahead. Did you have a question?
Yes, I did. Two questions, and it's just your thoughts and opinion, Carl. With the idea of in pauperis instead of in pauperis, couldn't you get equal protection under the laws and get your the things you need for appeal for free, just like a prosecutor gets it for free?
Let me ask you a question. When you go down to Las Vegas and you walk into that casino, can you take your cards with you, or you got to play with their cards?
You got to play with their cards.
Okay. So if you want to go in and you want to play the game, right, you got to play with their cards, right? Well, it's kind of the same way in the court system. See, when you go in there and then you want to play with your cards, these two big guys come up alongside you and kind of rap you in the head and say, why don't you step outside with us for a minute? It's just the way it is. It's when you go to the courts, they're not going to let you claim informal pauperis when you drove to court in a Cadillac. You see what I'm saying? I have people all the time, they want to do this informal pauperis, make the court pay for all the bullshit they got to go through. Well, they look out the window and they see you park in a Cadillac, you're not going to file, or any car. If you own a car, you can't file informal pauperis.
Well, that's why I asked, instead of them pauperis, why not equal protection under the law, where you're afforded the same privileges they have? If the prosecutor gets it for free.
Actually, you have more privileges than they have. Under the 10th Amendment and under the police power statutes. The police powers, you look it up in Black's Law, it says the power of eminent domain of a state or political subdivision to enact laws for the common good and welfare and to curb crime. And then it says in big, bold letters, within constitutional limitations. And then it says, see the 10th Amendment. And then you see the 10th Amendment, and it says the powers given to the government by the 10th Amendment are their powers. Those not so given are your powers for your exclusive use only or on grant from you. Now, a new argument that's being developed among a lot of the gurus of law in this country are, you don't have my permission to do this. What? What are you talking about? I don't give you my permission to try this case. I don't give you my permission to persecute me in this ungodly manner. And they're actually at sentencing sitting up at their allocution statement saying, I don't agree with your sentence. I challenge it thoroughly, and you don't have my permission to do this. And they have to shut the sentencing down. I had a little gal do that just recently, and she beat the snot out of the court and had to let her go.
I love that.
See, first of all, I'm a female. Under state law in Michigan, because they had all these duels after the Civil War, and these guys are packing all these 44 caliber things that go bang. And see, if you mess with a gal, you almost certainly ended up in a duel. You know, step out in the street and stand and deliver. We teach you to dishonor my gal, you schmuck. You know what I'm saying? Well, to stop dueling, they passed a law. It's called, let's see, it's 1821, 600.1821, which says you cannot arrest a female for any civil action, period. They have the same rights as a senator that's sitting in Congress while they're in session. You can't arrest them. Got it? Are you there?
Yeah.
Answer up every now and then because these phones are so screwed up I don't even know if you're still there, okay? All right?
Okay.
Now, the bottom line here is you're breaking trail. You know what I mean by that?
No, I do not.
You're riding the point of the spear. What happens to the point of the spear? Almost always it gets bent, huh? See,
yes.
When you're doing the new pathway and the new top of the line, latest and greatest stuff, you're going to get your nose bent a little bit. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, it does.
So when you want to take this trail, you need to know you got to really be in there and fighting tooth and nail and be very passionate about what you're doing, or the chances are they're not even going to consider it. They're just going to look at you like you're a nutcase and then put you in the nut house for a psychiatric eval for 60 days. So that's one thing you got to consider. That's one thing you got to consider, okay? My way of thinking is if you have a bona fide case and you really want to do something with it, you need to be paying the fees and don't play this, game because they are broke. Most of the legal court system in this country is broke. I know that seems incredible, but they're broke. And they got to figure some way of paying for them lights on and being able to pay for those marble walls with a big eagle on it and all that other stuff and buy these judges these fine black robes and those nice cameras to beat on the table with, and you going in there trying to get off, not paying, it's a real stick in their craw.
That makes a lot of sense.
It does. And if you want to go that way and you want to walk into that casino, you're going to have to play with their deck of cards. That's just the way it is.
And my second question was the idea of standing at arm's length. Could you explain what that means, standing at arm's length before the court or an arm's length agreement?
Well, here's what happens. I know a lot of guys that have tried that argument, and they won't come before the bar, and they sit there and they say, I'm refusing to come before the bar. I actually had a judge do this to my absolute amazement. He sent the bailiff out in the hallway and yelled for the guy. Well, the guy was standing right in front of him. But he sent the bailiff out in the hallway to yell for him. And then when the bailiff came back, and obviously these guys had worked the scam out in advance of the hearing, knowing that this guy was a pro se litigant and a serious legal guru fighter. And when the bailiff came back in, he says, we don't have anybody by that name out here, Your Honor. And he says, we don't have anybody by that name in here either, so I'm going to put a bench warrant for this guy for non-appearance.
Okay.
You see, these people stay awake nights going to classes and learning how to screw with our people, just like we learn how to screw with them, you see. So his attitude was, if you're not going to step before the bar, I'm going to declare that you never appeared in court today, and then I'm going to put a bench warrant out for your arrest for non-appearance. And it didn't matter that he was physically, we had witnesses that were standing right there watching him. He was there. He made an appearance, but he wouldn't go before the bar. So they said, well, then you're not here. So they swore a bench warrant out for him. He walked outside to his car and they arrested him. Are you seeing where we're going with this stuff? Now, one of the most beautiful things that's happening today is because of the people all standing up and doing this. We are the people, and we want you to do the right thing. Excuse my French. We want you to do the right thing, okay? Now, they've never seen the people stand together that voluminous at one time in their life. So they know now, hey, man, these people are in a high state of excitement.
Yeah, I agree. Did I lose connection?
No. Did we lose you, Constitution Man? Oh, don't tell me. Good grief. Let me look. Hold on a second. Oh, yeah. Mamma mia. We lost him again. Good grief. All right, well, he'll come back on, I guess, if unless his battery's died out. I don't know. We're on 3 hours. How long does a cell phone battery usually last?
I always keep mine plugged in.
Let's see if he comes back. Because we still have 2 people in line. We have Nancy again, I believe, and then North Central New York again. So
it's good to hear Carl, and but he knows it so well, and he goes through the posting so fast.
I know it's hard to take it all in and retain any of it.
I mean,
I'm typing it in here as he's talking it. So
well,
he's just.
I was going to say, if I was a judge, I'd say, case dismissed, Carl. Go on home. You talk too fast. You win.
That's probably part of it. I'll bet that intimidates the hell out of them. But anyway, Constitution Man, are you coming back or what? I don't see him yet. He comes on in Southeast Michigan, and 1, 2, 3, 4.
I'm heading his way. I'll be heading towards Toledo. I'll be there in 7, 8 hours.
You truck driver?
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm in Tennessee right now, but I'm going to bed in Toledo tonight.
Wow, what kind of weather is it out there you're driving in?
Well, right now it's dry. There's no snow on the ground. Of course, I'm south of Knoxville.
Oh, okay.
But I was in Indiana or Illinois last night. It took me 9 hours to go 180 miles.
Wow.
So, and that's just because the snow was blowing in my face. My wipers kept freezing up.
Drag. Well, I don't know what to say. He's not here yet. Oh, there.
Oh,
Wait, let me check. Is that you, Carl?
I'm here.
Okay, good.
I'm here. I'm here.
Welcome back.
Never say die. You can't stop a ranger. They're highly motivated. But they're playing with the phones. They're playing with the phones. And if you're coming to Toledo, you got to understand there's 2 feet of snow on the ground.
Well, I'm glad you could hear us. Yeah.
Yeah, Carl. The reason
when you get up above Cincinnati, you're going to find there's snow everywhere.
Oh yeah, I'm heading towards Toledo. I was telling Angela.
Well, you got 2 feet of snow on the ground at Toledo. We got 3 foot at Detroit.
Yeah, my daughter's up there in Detroit, and my boy's up there in Royal Oak. So.
Okay, well, you're going to have all kind of snow, trust me. And the streets are going to be slick, so watch out. They'll have black ice on the expressways.
Well, the reason I asked about...
Take your time.
The reason I asked about standing at arm's length is there's a gentleman, Randy Kelton, and he had a motion before the court, and the court denied his motion and was moving him to a jury trial. And he, with all due respect, Your Honor, or whatever his words were, that I can't move to jury trial. I'm standing at arm's length before this court, and I cannot be moved to jury trial. He's like stuck in between.
Well,
where the court.
here's the problem with that. The problem with that is the judge actually may just be pissed and not want to fool with us anymore, and he'll just dismiss it. Okay, that has happened a bunch of times to me. Okay, if they get the idea that this is going to be a circus, or that they're going to look stupid, or they're going to get some smart guy in here and he's going to fry them, they'll just say, well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to dismiss the whole thing. And I say, you can't do that, Your Honor. I was going to the Supreme Court. Well, the Supreme Court's kind of busy this time of year, you understand. Or they will revoke your bond and arrest you. So you need to be careful when you're doing these things, because some of these judges have figured out, well, I'll just arrest him, and when he's ready to cooperate, we'll leave him in a cell until he's ready to cooperate, and then we'll bring him to trial. And you could sit down there for months, man.
Yeah.
You understand? It's best not to play games like that, because almost always they're going to figure a way to jam it to you. And then you're sitting in custody, you know?
Yeah, and they all work together. They're not your friends.
No, they're not your friends, and they won't help you. And if you need a dentist, which happened to me, I had an impacted wisdom tooth that had gotten infected, and I ended up having to pull the damn thing with 2 plastic spoons from a food service tray and a couple of packages of salt I packed with toilet tissue and salt to take care of the infection problem, okay? But I ended up having to pull my own tooth in the sink, in the jail, in solitary confinement. Then they finally got me to a dentist, and then he says, well, what did you do? I said, well, I didn't have no choice. I was obsessed. My face was out the size of a football. I had to do something, so I pulled it. Well, how'd you do that? And I showed him with 2 plastic spoons from a food service tray. One tip of one spoon on one side, one tip of spoon on the other side, and then you hit them both at the same time, and that tooth just popped right out. The hell you say? I said, I'm also an engineer. I build your finest cars. I'm the guy who designed your suspension system on your Grand Cherokee Jeep. That was me and Barry Alberts. I'm a serious engineer.
But you packed it with salt to prevent the infection?
Packed it with salt when the tooth popped out, washed it out real thoroughly, packed it with salt and some toilet paper from the toilet, and swelling all came down, everything was copacetic, and I just kept packing it with salt, and it just healed right up. Oh, but to have to do that under those kind of conditions and be in that much pain and then trying to get to a dentist and you're in solitary confinement, give me a break. And see, the judge was pissed at me because I told him he was a real crook. And I told him he should have a Nazi flag on that flagpole out in front of this courthouse because you people are nothing but a bunch of Nazis. Oh, that did it. I'll hold you in contempt. I told him, you got me fair and square. I got nothing but contempt for a court that won't uphold the United States Constitution. That'll do it. 30 days in the cooler.
Wow. Okay, we've got a couple more people in line.
All right, let's strike like lightning and sound like thunder, and then she's got to go because she's got a little boy to take care of. We can't let her mess up.
He's not a little boy. He's a big boy.
He's not a little boy? He's a big boy now?
Yeah, he's 43 years old.
Has it been that long? Oh, boy. Okay, well, he's probably a good 43.
Yeah, 40. Well, the brain injury sort of keeps him very youthful, so in a way you're right.
Well, keep playing with him and try and get one of these. I can get you a really good doctor. He's really good. And he goes down every year to work with these shaman priests and monks down in the jungles of South America, and he learns how to use the herbs and what have you of the forest. That's how he saved my legs, because I had gangrene in both legs. And he made a poultice for my legs, and it killed the gangrene, and then he proceeded to cut all the dead gangrene off, and then they poured maggots all over them. They put the legs in stockings out of that muslin stuff that you gals use for weddings and what have you, you know. And they made socks, and then they poured these were educated maggots from the University of Southern California Medical School, and they went down there and they ate all of that gangrene while I sat there and watched and looked.
Oh, God. Oh, my God. Oh.
That's the doctor that asked me when I got out where I was going. And I said, well, I'm going bear hunting with my Indian friends. And he says, well, I know one damn thing. And I said, what's that, Doc? He says, the bear will not be the meanest bastard in the woods.
Oh, gosh. I'm
yeah,
sorry you got to go
through
that.
I got to go through all that, and they cut all the skin off my legs from my ankle to my knee. And it's just now getting to heal. Just now it's closing off. All the wounds are closing off.
Well, I'm glad you're healing. That's a wonderful thing.
And I'm still a paratrooper, and I'm still on my legs. You got my drift?
Yeah.
It's a paratrooper.
You want to take a couple more questions?
And I can dance with all the beautiful girls.
Do you want to take a couple more questions?
Yeah, we can do that. I'm highly motivated and highly trained, and I'm wound up, and I want to send a message clear as a bell to the bad guys. You do not want me for another 50 years.
Okay, North Central New York.
The sun.
Did you have a question, North Central New York?
Oh yeah, Angela, I'm back again. I just wanted to clarify. A couple things. That the submission for the poor person's application to court, it was done basically sworn by a notary. Therefore, it's an affidavit.
It doesn't matter. You know why it doesn't matter? Whose court is it?
It's our court. It's our court.
It's supposed to be your court. But whose court is it for real?
Well, when I claim it under common law, it's my court.
All right. Claim it under common law. Knock yourself out. But when it gets down to the Court of Appeals, whose court is it?
But we are not talking about going to Court of Appeals.
Well, you're not talking about real law. That's the problem. You don't have the experience to talk about the real law. You haven't been in it long enough to do this. You think you're going to go in and wave a bunch of fancy language from the UCC book that you learned
No.
1-207, and they're just going to slam you. And I don't want to see them slam you, so I'm warning you. Don't go there.
Can I clarify? I have never read any UCC stuff except for whatever I read
on
Howard Freeman. Of whatever read Howard Freeman.
I mean Howard Griswold. Okay.
Howard Freeman.
Well, guess what? When you told me you were going to hit him with a dishonor, I already knew what you were doing. You were into Admiralty and Maritime, UCC, all that stuff. And those people don't even want to hear it. Did you hear me?
I hear you.
If you go into certain states, especially New York, Michigan, California, there was a guy at Heidelberg University, and he taught the theory that the citizen exists for the good of the state. And guess where most of his students settled? Where? New York, Michigan, and California. Now, do you want to know why those states are so socialist? That's why. Because they believe the citizen exists for the good of the state. And you're not going to change that mentality. And when you go down there and you want to change their game, they just get resentful. And they find ways to screw you. And the way they screw you is they drag you out, charge you a lot of fees, and then get you involved and just victimize the hell out of you. And that's not the way to win with these guys. The way to win is to blackmail them. The way to win is to show them they look stupid. The way to win is to actually entertain their thinking process that they're really good guys and that just out of reason they should give you a break. You want to go in there and you want to stand there and tell them, all kind of stuff, and they just don't want to hear it. So right away, and if you do too much, and I have done too much, I'm going to tell you honestly, I've done too much. They put you in a nut house and they check your bolts to see if they go in tight.
Right. When you start mixing all kinds of processes, they'll recommend a psychiatric evaluation.
I mean, they did it to me 6 times already. I'm an expert at it. You should see me. I just wipe the floor with their prosecutors and their damn psychiatrists. And then they
you got room for one more question?
Let's do it. Stand up, hook up. Thank you for your interest, but you're not going to win, okay?
North and West Colorado. Is that Nancy again?
Oh, yeah, it is. I thought I lost your email, but I did send one to you. I found
we lost a bunch of stuff here. They're playing with the phones tonight.
Send me an email. I'll look for it.
One of these days.
When I lived in
Carl, did you want me to just send her your phone number or what?
Yeah. Send me a phone number that I can contact her and walk her step by step through all this stuff and make sure that she's covered, okay?
I'm looking at your
we have
email
to
right
be,
now.
I have to be able to relate to her and tell her real stuff. I don't tell people half a story and then let them go try it just to test my legal pet theories and hope they somehow waddle through. I don't like to do that. I like people to know that when I tell you stuff, it's the real stuff. I've tested thoroughly over 50 years.
Right.
Now, tell that guy that he calls back again, when you get 50 years in, then you can argue with me.
Well, I appreciate it, and I thank you. And when I lived in Chicago about 35 years ago, they had a pharmacy on Michigan Avenue that sold live leeches. I just
Yeah.
add that.
It is actually a medical practice, and if you get a really good doctor who is into what is called holistic healing, he will do whatever it takes to save your life. And see, my only alternate choice was to walk down to the hospital, and if you even get gangrene in your big toe, they cut your leg off at the knee. You know what I'm saying? I'm not doing that. I'm a paratrooper. When I come back to heaven, I'm going to be a paratrooper. What good's a paratrooper with no legs? I mean, I got shot up bad a bunch of times, hauling wounded out of here and there. I'll never forget these Marines, and they were totally surrounded and on fire, the LZ, and their own pilots told them, hell no, we ain't coming down there. What are you, nuts? That's a hot LZ. And we went down there and we pulled them Marines out, and I got shot, Hey, I didn't even realize I got shot until I got to the hospital. And then the one pilot got shot in the neck. I did a tracheotomy on him with a pocket knife and a Parker T-ball gyre, and the other guy, he got shot in the groin, and we ripped our T-shirts off and shoved them in his crotch and did a cross tourniquet with our belts. We flew him sitting on the console of the aircraft, flying with the controls backwards, getting it stabilized, putting it on automatic pilot. We got the pilots out in the back, did a tracheotomy on the one. The other guy, we did a cross tourniquet. And then I jumped back in the right chair and flew the thing to the hospital. I didn't even realize I was shot. And I land down here, and this nurse is bitching me out. I'm hauling these wounded in. And she says, Sergeant, what are you doing with that sidearm on? This is a hospital. That's against the Geneva Convention. And I was bloody head to toe, and I turned to her and I said, Ma'am, we're having a flash and blue light special today. Maybe you noticed. I appreciate it. You jumped right on it. We'd like to think you got these guys back here in time to save their life. And she said, you better come over here and lay down, Sonny. You've been shot. And I said, what? I was shot 4 times in the legs and once in the face. And then I passed out, and I woke up 3 days later, and this General McCaffrey was putting medals on my pillow, telling what a wild and crazy guy I was. Anyway.
All right. We have one more. Go ahead. You've been unmuted.
Yes. How you doing, Angela and Carl?
Fine, thank you.
Good.
I'm doing good. To quote a very famous American today, I'm feeling super fantastic.
Yeah, that's good, and thank you for
serving. You know who I'm talking about?
No.
TNT Dinar Tony.
Oh,
I'm feeling super fantastic. And I want you people to go out there and get on them Twitters and smoke their ass. I want to be number 1 again tomorrow.
Yes, Carl. I got a little story I want to tell you about veterans, because I'm a 100% disabled vet, but I didn't serve any wartime, and I wish I had. I really wish I would have went in the military when you was in there and learned something about the Constitution.
Well, they had a special program. I'll be honest with you. At first, we were pissed. We got picked, me and Sergeant Crouch, and I thought I was getting assigned to a dirty detail, to be honest with you. And I told the Sergeant Major, I said, I got 2 aircraft in the hangar, Sergeant Major, and I mean, we're going to Cambodia next week, and I don't want to miss out on it. I got to get them suckers out of the hangar. If I leave them in the hangar, they'll take my radios, they'll take my seats, they'll take everything, put on another aircraft just to get it out. I said, I don't want to have to rebuild my whole aircraft and be in there for 6 months. You tell them, asshole, I don't want them touching a screw on that damn aircraft. You just leave it alone. Now, can't you get another command sergeant, another command staff senior non-commissioned officer to go down on this detail? He said, Sergeant, you're in the United States Army. You got your orders, and I don't want to hear no bullshit. I said, yeah, Top, I'm sorry. Top never talked to me like that, ever. I was one of his best guys. He didn't talk to me like that. I said, well, it must be important, Top, or you wouldn't have brought it up. He says, believe me, fellas, you've been picked for something real special. I said, fine, Top, whatever you say. Just go down and tell them assholes don't touch nothing on my aircraft or I'll cut them. You know what I'm saying? And so we said, you put your best shit on, go down there, and remember, you represent the cab. You make sure you're the best by test. I said, sir, yes, sir. And I went down to the meeting, and I looked, and all these guys were strapped, man. They were all boots shine, gig line straight, you know, uniforms clean, pressed, starched, you know. And I says, whoa, I says, this is something special. Something's going on here. We're probably being selected for that special group that's going to go crashing into North Vietnam to get our POWs out, and they're picking the best guys. Because me and Sergeant Crouch were regarded as the best guys in the flight platoon, gunners and crew chiefs, you know what I'm saying? And so I said, let's just stay calm and see where this is going. And then this colonel came in and he handed out constitutions to everybody, and he started teaching class on the Constitution and what this project was about and what the Army was doing, and that this was happening all over the service, Army, Navy, Marines, and Air Force, that General MacArthur had set this up, that they would pick their best guys and they'd put them in special classes. And you see, General MacArthur didn't trust the people in Washington, especially around the Battle of Inchon. He didn't trust them at all. And he thought they were selling us out. And so he didn't tell them any of his plans to even do Inchon because he didn't want them to tell the communists. And so he set up this program throughout the entire military, and I'm a product of that Project Blue Book. And he says, you gentlemen are going to leave the military services, and when you do, we want you to understand you're just going to be kind of like babysitters a little bit, and whenever anybody crashes or screws with America, you're going to kind of step forward and let them understand they made a big mistake. Yeah, sure. And you had to be able to know your Constitution and rattle it off like Article 6, Paragraph 2, the Constitution and the laws and pursuance thereof, and the treaties made or which shall be made under the authority of the United States shall be the supreme law of the land. The judges in every state shall be bound thereby. Anything in conflict or repugnancy to the Constitution is null and void of law. The opinion of the court, Justice John Marshall, 1803. Anything in conflict or repugnancy to the law of the Constitution is null and void of law, bears no power to enforce, no obligation to obey. It reports to settle if it never existed. Unconstitutionality dates from the enactment, not from the date so branded open court of law. It operates as a mere fiction, a nullity in fact of law.
It's really hard to understand you when you talk that fast.
I'm sorry,
all your
but
words
I mean,
run together.
I'm sorry, but I mean to let you know they really made us know our stuff.
Right.
You had to know your stuff, and you had to be sharp as a tack, and you had to be loyal, true blue. And when we came back to the head shed, the sergeant major was grinning from ear to ear because he knew he sent his best two guys and that we wouldn't disappoint him. And he said, well, boys, how did you like it? And I said, it was very informative, Sergeant Major. And he says, are you mad that you went? And I said, no, sir. And I said, that taught me a whole hell of a lot of stuff. I'm very, very thankful. Thank you. I mean, I thought we were going on some dirty detail while our birds were in the hangar. We wouldn't get done in time to go to Cambodia next week. He says, not to worry, I made sure they didn't touch a screw on your aircraft. I said, well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. And sure enough, that Monday we went to Cambodia. I got shot down.
Okay.
And then I got back on another helicopter after I got shot down and went back out again and got shot down. I mean, they regarded me, I'm telling you, they gave me such a, they gave me respect. They really did. They really knew I was a serious soldier. They definitely did.
Well, you're not just a serious soldier. You're a successful soldier to come out and still have a good frame of mind and still be able to fight for your country and outside of the military. As a civilian, and
I think when I give my word, I mean it. When I give my word,
right? Well, let me ask you this question. I'm studying the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act under a few different conference calls, and I'm getting ready to fight my fourth foreclosure. I just filed a bankruptcy, but I also want to file a federal lawsuit, and from what I've been hearing from people is that when you go into court and as a pro se and to knock these attorneys down, you have to stop them from to say, and because they're not sworn in, and so if they are not sworn in and they are debt collectors and not creditors, and so how can you hold them to just debt collector information and not be able to use creditors' information?
Well, look on the paperwork. Look on the paperwork. If they're a debt collector, they're supposed to say so on the bottom of the paperwork.
Right. Yeah. Right. I understand that, but how can
if they don't say
so,
the penalty is they give up their case.
Right. Okay. Well, the question is, how do you stop them from using creditors' documents such as promissory notes, deeds of trust, and stuff like that when they have no knowledge of it?
First of all, I file a fair credit reporting situation under Title 15 United States Code 1692, demanding that they verify the debt. And they got 30 days to do it, and I tell them that, and then I wait and see if they do verify the debt. And most of the time they don't. So then I default them, and that shuts them right down right away. Then if they do verify the debt and they bring all this crap in, the first thing I shut down is their foreclosure sale, because technically it's in direct violation of the Federal TARP Act, Obama's Federal TARP Act, okay? They promised and took money in consideration of helping people stay in their home. Didn't they do that?
Well,
guess what? That's a violation of the Fair Debt Collection Act, so they can't hold that foreclosure. It's illegal. All foreclosures are illegal because they're in direct violation of the TARP Act. I got documents from a sheriff's own attorney telling him he can't do foreclosures because it's in direct violation of the TARP Act, telling him that he can be sued if he proceeds to do a foreclosure, violate the TARP Act, that he can be held accountable and in contempt of court. I shut down the sheriff's sale. I shut down the sheriff's sale totally as fraud. Okay?
Can you spell that?
And the next thing I do, what is this?
Can you spell that? The TARP Act you said?
Can I spell it?
Yeah, what the
TARP Act?
Shutting it down. Yeah.
The TARP Act, T-A-R-P Act, A-C-T. It's a federal law. Obama gave these bankers all kind of money if they'll honor the TARP Act, which is to help people stay in their homes. They're duty bound to try and work out some modification to help them stay in their home. And they don't do it. As a matter of fact, they get bonuses for not doing it.
Okay, well, in my case, they have been sending me out letters. They always send me out letters to try to get me to do a loan modification. But the fact is, I got marrieds and all that and fraudulent assignments, and I'm not going to do a modification with somebody who has no rights and no interest in my mortgage.
Okay, well, you have a right to do that, but you're missing a golden opportunity to fight them. Because the TARP Act is real law. They are bound by it, and it says they can't have their foreclosure without doing the TARP Act provision, and they're not doing the TARP Act proviso, so they're violating the TARP Act, which is a felony. And the bottom line is a sheriff can actually be sued for violating the TARP Act. I've got the Wayne County Sheriff here in Detroit swearing out in front of God and everybody on February the 4th, 2008, he's not holding those sheriff sales no more because he don't want to be in violation of the TARP Act. Well, if it's good in Wayne County, it's good in all other 83 counties in Michigan and every county in the United States. And I handed that in evidence as exhibit number 10, and it's got a big sheriff's star right in the middle of it. And when the cops and the judge look at that, they go, oh, shit, you guys can't do this foreclosure. This foreclosure was illegal. No shit.
Okay, and you had the TARP Act. That's on Angela's website, too?
Yep.
Okay, now, do I
leave her a number. Leave her a number that I can get to you, and I'll make sure you get all kind of documents where they have gotten beat so bad in court they don't even want to talk about it, that they sent their worst trot lawyer down, Donald King, and he went out in the hall, and the judge told him, if I were you, I'd let reasonable minds prevail, and I'd make a settlement, Mr. King. And they did. They went out and the two cases that I got, and they settled. They settled out of court, and they give the guy his house. They give it free and clear title. They agreed to clear his good name on his credit. They paid him a nice chunk of change.
And all that was through the TARP Act?
By arguing that issue, yeah. And that the sheriff's sale was illegal from its inception because they violated the law on the sheriff's sale, 600.3204. And they didn't have no right to that.
Right. Well, let me ask you this. Now, if I didn't do a loan modification with them, I refuse to do a loan modification with them, can I still use the TARP Act?
Well, you know, if you aren't going to play ball, how do you get the game started?
Well, I mean, yeah.
You want to use the argument, but you don't want to play ball. Did you even sit down with them and have a meeting with them? Duty bound under the law, they're required to give you at least one face-to-face meeting. Did you know that? And if they don't do that, that's a violation of the TARP Act.
Well, I'm going to do that when I file my district lawsuit. But all
right, well, then file your lawsuit, because they can't do a foreclosure if there's a lawsuit ongoing.
Well, I already have a bankruptcy filed to have.
That's only temporary. You only got about a 6 month stay there, and then they'll lift the stay and just go right anyway. You got to have a lawsuit, and it's got to be for millions of dollars.
Right. I have a paralegal working on a lawsuit now, but I don't know how to do one for. I don't know how to do one for millions of dollars. And I hope you can give me that information. You know, because
give your phone number. Give your phone number to Angela, and she'll make sure I get it. Okay.
Yeah, I sure will.
We'll work something out. Okay. In the meantime, you need to understand the clock is ticking, and the time waits for no man. You need to get on this. You can't just sit on this forever and hope that somehow, eventually, they'll get to you. And then you wait till the last minute, and then you throw shit in the court at the last minute, and then the judge says, well, if you were serious, you would have filed a lawsuit a long time ago. You're not serious. I'm just going to give it to them.
Well, Carl, the reason why I haven't filed a couple of lawsuits, I done stopped the foreclosure 3 times, and this is the 4th time. But I haven't found someone good that knows how to use this Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, because attorneys, I don't trust attorneys.
All right, well, start at, well, you got to understand that there's a system called the demonstration court. And if you don't have an attorney at all, they look upon you as an upstart coming into their court trying to play attorney. And they have made a ruling, especially in Michigan, called the demonstration court. And what they do is they're going to send a message to you one way or another. If you don't have an attorney, we're not even going to give you a listen. I've had some of my clients told, don't even come back if you don't have an attorney.
Well, I'm still looking for one. I've been looking for one for about 4 years now.
Look hard. Look harder. You got to do something here. We can't fool around. You got to have an attorney. And I will feed you such good stuff you can't believe, and then when the attorney hands that to the court, it'll be an attorney handing it to them at the court, and then they'll have to consider it. They're really supposed to consider it if you hand it to them, but you know what? They're not.
Right.
Now, I'm trying to tell you the truth.
Okay.
I know it's not right. I know it's not right, but you know what? That's the truth.
Yeah. Yeah, now, I was on, Dave called the other day, and he mentioned something about one of his archive calls, and he mentioned something about the NACA website or something to find attorneys for the consumers.
Yep.
Is that the right name? NACA?
Yep.
Okay. Well, I'll definitely get on that.
That's one of them. Another one is the bar. Usually the local bar will have a listing of good attorneys that specialize in certain fields and handle certain cases. You really want an attorney who's into real estate and or law that deals with mortgages and banking.
Right. Definitely. I'm trying to find one, so I'll look under the neck.
Try and start out with the bar association locally and see if they can at least find one that'll sit down with you and give you a half hour of his time and see if you and him can be compatible enough to actually hire him.
Right. Okay.
And then give your number to Angela, and she'll get it to me, and I'll figure ways to get you good data to shove in there, okay? But I'm telling you as a friend, you need to get on this now and not wait.
I'm trying to. I've been listening to calls all day long.
People that wait to the end almost always lose.
No, I'm not going to wait to the end.
I'm trying to think of the name of that lawyer. He's got a website. It's on WordPress. And he has a listing of lawyers that do nothing but that type of stuff.
That's the guy in Florida, I think. I think I know who you're talking about. The guy in Florida that has all the success.
No, you're talking about Wiedner, right? Matt Wiedner. Or no, this guy is oh God, what's his name? I think he's here in California. Actually, he gives seminars to lawyers on how to fight foreclosures. Oh God, what's the name? Shit. Well, go ahead and talk for a minute. I'll find it. Hold on.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, this is the last one, so we're going to let her go home and go to bed, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
She can have my Ranger tab anytime she wants, but she don't have to do it. See, so she needs to go home and go to bed. We can stay up all night. We can stay up all night listening to that alligator music and talking trash, and then anybody who falls asleep right in their thesis of why they wanted to be a Ranger, and then they beat a stick on the damn table, and you jump up so fast and say, "Go sign out. You just DOR'd, buddy. You're out of here. You can't fall asleep."
So,
Neil Garfield. His name is Neil
Garfield, excellent attorney. That guy is really good. And you can get he has a website too, and you can get his manual on foreclosure. His foreclosure is one of the best ever written. I have all of his stuff. He's really good.
His website is
go
called
on his website. Just Google up Neil Garfield.
His website is called Living Lies.
Yeah. He's the guy that really pioneered the robo-signing programs.
LivingLies.com?
No, livinglies.wordpress.com.
Oh, okay.
You can also get him by just putting in Neil Garfield, too.
Yeah. If you just Google his name, you can get it. And he's got all kinds of stuff on there.
All kind of manuals. Well,
he's got lists of lawyers also for your local, whatever your area is. You put in your zip code, and a whole listing of lawyers will come up. If you want.
I've read all of his stuff. He's really good.
Yeah.
Good. So, Carl, what do you think about the Public Law 10, Chapter 48, Stat 112? That's parallel with the 192 Resolution, House Joint Resolution Act.
As far as I'm concerned, it's bona fide. It's the real deal. I got the one out of the real record thanks to a lovely little librarian at the University of Michigan Law Library, and I went in there one day and she said, when they got rid of that book, I kind of thought there was some underlying reason. So I microfished the whole book. I said, God bless your sweet little tail. I said, I need a copy of that House Joint Resolution 192, June 5th, 1933. And she said, have it for you in a minute. And she went right in the back. I gave her 2 dozen roses. Thank you, Jesus. I've been looking for that thing for 15 years. Every law library in the country, that book is missing. That's the history of the 73rd Congress.
So all the bankers cannot do a proof of claim if you have this law in your complaint, right?
That's right, because guess what? They don't exist in law. They are civilly dead. Why? Because they're bankrupt. Another good thing to get is the history of a sheriff who later became a congressman, and his name was Traficant. Go on Google and Google up Traficant. And he put a whole report into the Congress that the United States is a bankrupt corporation. And that's on your wall, for sure, I know.
Yeah, I have it on there.
It's called the Traficant Reports or something. They put that guy in a mental. First they put him in jail for tax evasion. Then they put him in a mental hospital in Wisconsin. And then for a while I told him how we were using his argument and his position and his statement before the Congress, and he laughed. And he said this was the best gift I could have ever given, and he gave me a hand-painted they gave him some crayons and paints, and he was making these fabulous paintings and selling them. I guess he was getting $50,000 and $100,000 for some of these paintings, and then the prison found out he was making money for his family by doing those. So they pulled all his crayons and paints away. So we sent him some more, but, they're just bastards. They don't want nobody doing nothing positive.
I just put the link to it on the chat. That's Traficant. One thing good about my website, myprivateaudio.com, is there's a search box at the top. So I just typed in Traficant, and it came up in 2 places.
I knew I had given you that. Did you Google in the Tom license? Tom's license?
No, I didn't do that one.
I know I sent all that good stuff.
I will. Yeah, it's right there. It's not. I still have a lot of stuff that I haven't posted.
Well, I don't have. My position is I'm confronted with this medical. I got to deal with it because it's real.
Sure.
And for a while there, I had to just sit back and cool my jets, and my family is very upset about me coming back on the radio, I can tell you that. So
what should I put in? License?
Tom's constitutional license. And I tell you, I won so many times in court with that. It used to be so funny. I would go in there and they'd let me go first, and that was a big mistake. And when I was done, old Judge Ward leaned back there and he's dismissed. You're dismissed. I said, sir, I want to go all the way to the Supreme Court. He said, well, the Supreme Court's kind of busy this time of year. We don't have time for this. You're just wasting the court's time. And so the next guy got up and says, I'm not quite sure everything that guy just said, but I want to ditto it on my case. He goes, okay, how many people here didn't have no license? How many people didn't have no plate? And a bunch of people raised their hand. He goes, okay, you're all free to go. That was the last time I got to go first.
Yeah, I don't have that on there.
I
probably have it in a file folder. I don't have it on the site. So.
Okay, well, it's Tom's constitutional driver's license.
Yeah.
Okay. But I'm not telling you you're driving. I'm telling you you're traveling. See, that's the difference. Traveling is, you're right. Driving is a commercial venture for profit or hire on the open road. Now, are you a person that operates commercially as a driver? Then you need a driver's license. Mm-hmm. State has a right to issue a driver's license if you're operating in commerce. But if you're just traveling in your own conveyance on the public roadway, they don't have no right to license that.
Okay, Carl, I have a commercial driver's license because I was a tractor trailer driver. So
well, then you need to have a license.
I'm not one now, but I still have my license.
Well, when you were there, when you were doing it, you were commercial, you needed a license. But when you're not commercial, you don't need it.
Right, so, but I still want to hold on to it. But if I don't have it on my person, when I'm driving my personal private vehicle, can the police look up my information and see that I have a commercial driver's license?
Sure.
Yeah, but they can't charge me.
You're asking me to guess what a policeman will do. Do you realize how insane that is? There's no two policemen that think alike. Now, me, they probably wouldn't do nothing. I couldn't get a ticket to save my life. The last cop was huge, 6'4", and I said, you're probably going to find this hard to believe. And he goes, what? And he says, see, I wasn't driving, I was traveling. There's a difference. And I gave him all the case law and 27-minute seminar on driving and traveling and all this. And he goes, you wait right here. I'll be right back. Meanwhile, a crowd had gathered at this little gas station. I'll never forget these two old ladies. One little Selma, she said, get out the car now, Selma. This one's going to be real good. This guy don't have no plates and no driver's license. So a crowd of about 30 or 40 people gathered around this gas station where I had pulled over, And this cop calls on his radio. I could hear him still talking. He calls out my name. The guy goes, the Carl Miller? And the guy goes, well, it's one of them, probably. He says, for God's sake, don't give that guy no ticket. And everybody busted out laughing, And then all the cops started chiming in on the radio and chuckling and telling little jokes and chucking and jiving. And the sergeant's like, get off my radio. This is important, And he says, I don't care what that guy got. You just tell him to have a nice day and think about slowing down and get the hell out of there as fast as you can before you get your mouth in trouble. And so the people were laughing, and he walked up to me and he says, well, I'm going to let you off with a warning this time. He says, well, do me a favor. Don't do nothing for 5 minutes. Let me at least drive away so I don't have to watch you do it again. I said, fine. You've been an excellent officer, very professional. I said, I got no problem with doing that. So I sat there and I went in, and the gas station guy says, you're really good. You're really good. He says, what did you come here for? I says, well, an old-timer just got out of the hospital, had a stroke, and he needs a little food for his icebox and some gas for his truck so he can charge the battery. And I said, I agreed to come down here and get it for him. And he says, well, your money ain't no good here. He says, if you want anything you want, it's on me. Anybody that's got balls like you, he says, you can name your ticket here. He says, all the food and gas you want. So he let me charge $85 for the gas and food for this old timer that just got out of the hospital. So I waited till the guy left. I filled up the truck with food, took it back to him, told him the story. He busted out laughing, almost fell out of the bed laughing. He says, Carl, you're a trip. You know that? And I says, well, I'm not trying to be. He says, and the one guy in the gas station, he says to me, he says, you're lucky, because that guy would give his own mama a ticket, He knew the guy real good. He says, you really put it to him. I'll tell you what, he ain't going to live that one down for a long time. I'm going to make sure I rub salt in that wound. So every now and then I'll see him, and he'll give me a big shit smile, and I'll smile back. Thanks a lot for flying Alitalia, you know. We got to get this girl to bed here, so we can't chit-chat much longer. She's got things to do, places to go, and people to see. So I'm
we've
let
gone
her go.
3 hours and 39 minutes.
Believe me, girl, I could do that twice over at least. But I'd probably get yelled at by my doctor. He probably would cuss me every which way but loose. You know, I only got so many miracles in my bag, and you've already exhausted all yours.
We want you to take care of yourself, too. So.
Well, I'm going to do that, so we're going to sign off for tonight. But I just want to share with all those people out there in TV land, this is the United States of America. It really should say these United States of America. The United States is corporate. We're the people. We are the people. Got it?
Yeah.
We want them to fix it and put it back the way the forefathers wanted. You got that? Now let's try and fix it, Congress, government, today. Let's try and get them dinar cash for all the people and not just some of the yahoos.
Right.
Now, I'm telling you, you better do it because tomorrow I'm going to start closing banks. We're going to have a bank day. You know what a bank day is? That's where we call everybody. Go in and get all your money out of the bank.
Oh.
And we're not playing. So you damn well better fix it and start making it fair for everybody. I'm going to call all my banker friends and see if the dinar is being cashed in tomorrow. And if it isn't, hell's going to be paying because I'll be on every radio talk show till the next Christmas, busting your chops. Make my day.
Okay, Angela.
Go ahead.
Yes, do you have my information? Because I sent you a few donations before. And
I don't know who you are.
I do.
No, he'll get it.
But I mean, as far as your email, does it say that on your email?
No, it's going to say Rhythm G.
Well, you're going to have to make sure she gets it
okay.
so she can get it to me, okay?
Well, send me an email and put the information in the subject line. Like send this to Constitution Man or something like that.
And
so
we'll
out.
work a way to get it to him, okay?
Okay, all right. I'll do that.
Remember, tomorrow you're going to a Chase Bank and take all your money out, right?
Yeah, I'll take all my money out every time I get it deposited. I get a deposit.
Tell everybody, tomorrow we want everybody to go in and pull all their money out of Chase Bank and Wells Fargo.
I don't have any bank accounts anymore.
Well, you're extra special. You're extra special. I understand a lot of our people don't have them either, but the ones that do need to go in and send a message. Fix it. This is we the people.
It's really
want you to fix
not
it.
to have a bank account.
All right. Well, let's end it on that. That's a good one to end it on. Thank you so much, Constitution Man. I appreciate it. Everybody appreciates you coming on. We're glad to hear from you that you're doing okay.
I'm hanging. Me and the junkyard dog, I'm hanging.
And Angela.
Don't tell my doctor.
I'm sorry, what?
Don't tell my doctor.
The chat line, is there any way that's saved or how?
Yeah, the whole chat, you can get the transcript of the chat. There's a link on the website. If you go to myprivateaudio.com, you go to the Talk Shoe Guide, it'll say, if you go to the home page, myprivateaudio.com, on the top right portion, it says Audio Archive. Just click on that, and then it'll say Chat Transcripts. Oh, no, wait, I don't have it on that one. Wait a second, let me look. I forget where it is. It's on the Talk Shoe. If you go to the Talk Shoe Guide button, it's on that page. It's right on the top right. It says Chat Archives. Right under the Please Donate button, it says Chat Archives.
At the top. Okay.
All right, I'm going to wish you good night, dear. God love you and keep you.
Good night. Thank you so much.
You're doing a phenomenal job.
And so are you. Thank you so much. Thank you. God bless you.
Not to worry. God bless.
Take care.
God bless you. All right.
Bye-bye now. Bye-bye.
All
right. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody. Love you, too.
Good night, everyone. I love you. Take care of each other. we'll see you on the next one. Next Thursday, we have Adele Weiss is scheduled to come on next Thursday. So that's always a good call, too. And we'll have Carl on again now that he's back in the scheme of things and out of the hospital and all better. We got to pray for him. Send him our best intentions. All right, everybody. Good night. We'll see you next Thursday. Don't forget, Carl's on Saturday. Carl Lentz, that is. All right. Good night.
Good night. Good night.